Welcome, guys. Welcome. We're going to be taking a bit of a deeper dive look at Galactic Civilizations today as part of the Steam Spring Sale, which is going to be starting in 3/4 of an hour. So don't buy the game just yet if you're watching this live. Wait until the spring sale that does actually start. So it's not starting yet, but I thought what we'd do is at least get started, sort of ease our way into it. If you've got any questions about the game, please ask, and I'll do my best to sort of show aspects of the game, try to explain actually what the game actually is. This is a sponsored stream, so thank you to DasTactic for sponsoring this stream, and I'll be doing one as well, a follow-up stream in a couple of days as well. But I thought I'd sort of just get started, do a bit of a slow burn until the spring sale actually then starts, and we'll sort of then go from there. So I will just double check that everything is working. I didn't actually have a look to see. Yep, there we are. Great. Okay, so we're up and firing. We're up and firing. So yeah, but please, if you've got any questions about the game, please do ask. And as I say before, I'm going to be titling this a spring sale presentation, but I sort of hope that I should actually have put something on the screen about like a timer of when the spring sale actually does start, which starts in 3/4 of an hour. So I thought that would be enough time if someone was on the fence about this game, that they may be able to then sort of either ask questions or sort of see what the game actually offers and go from there. So let's maybe sort of, I don't want to just rush into the game. It's sort of like, let's just meander our way into it. I will talk a little bit about the information that has come out about the game in recent times, because it's fairly exciting for me. Like as a gamer, I do enjoy different things that do sort of come through. So what we're seeing through here is this dev journal is actually I quite like these because we've got this one is a preview of the GalCiv version 3.0. I'll click on it just so we can sort of go through it. It does provide succinct information about where the game has come from and where it's actually heading. So I'll probably move my head once we get into the game, but I'll just leave it where it is for now in the actual in the stream there. So it says basically, at long last, Galactic Civilizations 2.95 is here, and it's a big one. We'd like to think it addresses most of our high priority feedback we've gotten on the game since launch, especially in terms of map generation. So this is I'll just explain a little bit. One of the differences really between GalCiv 4 and the previous Galactic Civilizations is that the development team that was working on the previous versions would sort of work on the game, get it ready, and then basically they then had to allocate design or development resources back in to do any sort of other work to be done with those other games. In Galactic Civilizations 4, there's actually a dedicated team of developers that are working on it all the time. So it's sort of like it got constant development, which is great, which means that it can actually, you'll notice when you play the game that the user experience is really finessed and fine-tuned, and also there's a lot of passion about the development of the game, and I really do appreciate that as a gamer, as someone who enjoys the game. That behind the scenes information does mean a lot to me. So anyway, so they've been sort of addressing feedback and trying to get things. It's interesting with the map generation. I haven't noticed it much, like over time. I've seen little things, but I know that there was one big update like some months ago, and I did actually have a look at that then. We'll have a look at that when we go into the game, because I haven't really had a good look at this until right now. So, but well beyond that, version 2.95 is a major improvement on everything from performance, balance, multiplayer stability, late game stability, AI, and more. Seriously, it's a big update. So that was fairly recent. So. I can't remember exactly when, but that last update was a big one for the game. Assuming there's no issues with it, the next big update will be version 3.0, which is one that many of us here have been waiting for to come together. This update has many months of improvements and additions, and we've been waiting to push through quality assurance. Here's a sneak preview of the changes coming to 3, which you expect to release this spring, which is spring in the for you Northern Hemisphere-ites. Yes, it is spring, or it's coming into spring. For us Southern Hemisphere-ites, it's autumn. I concede that you've got the population in the Northern Hemisphere, so we'll default to calling it spring. It's sort of funny. You sort of get like, it's just one of those things like. Like whenever I sort of see spring written, I always know it's cold for me. Hyperlanes, here we go. Originally Civ 4 was going to have really small sectors, imagine medium being the biggest, and you just go to other sectors. However, many of us feel it's tedious to keep track of too many sectors. Over time, we've made the size of a single sector larger, but then we return to the problem of taking multiple turns to get to other stars. We initially fixed this by increasing the speed of ships, but that resulted in its own issues. So version 3.0 is going to include hyperlanes that will connect stars to other stars. Now that's interesting. So what this means is these are, at the moment, the hyperlanes go from sector to sector, but to go from star to star, that's actually, I'm guessing you could be able to build those. They'll not teleport like stellar gateways, but will function like hypergates from GalCiv 3. When you're on a hyperlane, your ship travels much faster. Right. So it's going to be, yeah, okay. So if you get on one of those things, you basically just end up travelling at like maybe double speed or something. So that is interesting. By offering the phase lane style of Sins of the Solar Empire, Mu 2 will be Sins of a Solar Empire / Mu 2, while still maintaining the free movement of galactic civilizations. This will, we hope, give players the best of both worlds when traversing the galaxy. I like that idea, actually. That makes it so that you can... Because at the moment, when you play the game, you do actually have a boost when you're inside territory, like inside your own territory. And it is fairly substantial, the actual movement you actually do get. So it's sort of like doing surprise attacks can be difficult. Although, on the other hand, doing surprise attacks can be easy because of the amount of movement that you actually do have. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance that out. Again, I like that they keep on going back to the core mechanics to sort of see what they can actually then do about that one. Visual uplift. While most of our players don't care much about graphics, many still do. We've put considerable effort into enhancing the engine, which should improve the appearance of ships and other on-screen elements. Yeah, it's one of those funny things, isn't it, with strategy game players. You don't need the graphics, but gee, they make a difference. When you actually sort of do look at them, it is actually a positive thing that does come through with it. When you like, and again, I like the liveliness of the way that the game is presented in GalCiv. I always feel energized whenever I play it. James 28 saying yes, it's like in an hour. Yes, about 35 minutes from now, the spring sale will start. So we'll just do we'll meander into the game, and so that so don't buy the game just yet, guys. Don't buy the game just yet. If you're watching this live, it's the sale will start in about half an hour's time. So yeah, we'll have a look at that, of course, when that does happen. Ship design and battles, like many other similar games, new installments of GalCiv have their own lead designer who provides their own ideas on what the game should do. This is what I was talking about before. For instance, I designed Galactic Civilizations 2, but decided to take a step back for the development of Galactic Civilizations 3. We brought in John Schaefer, known for his work on Civ 5. To design GalCiv 3. I returned for the design of Crusade expansion pack, which changed some of the mechanics. For GalCiv 4, Derek Paxton was assigned as the lead designer, with me completing the Supernova expansion. Supernova was merged with GalCiv 4 for the Steam release, bringing notice to my different design preferences with some conflicting gameplay styles. This is a very succinct way of going through the history, to be honest, of the game. John Schaefer was quite important with his work on Civ 5. He has done other games since then. He sort of like left Stardock and done other games, but I can't think what they were. Derek Paxton, you may know Derek Paxton as Kale, who was a modder originally, who did mods for Civilization. Which one was it? Civilization 4, I think, with the Fall from Heaven mod. Considered one of the best mods of all time. And so Derek was good at bringing other modders in to actually work on that particular major mod. And so Derek was actually he came to Stardock to fix up Elemental, which then became Fallen Enchantress. So Derek really did some incredible work at Stardock. He did actually then sort of start GalCiv 4. I'll be honest, I didn't like GalCiv 4 when it first came into the Epic Game Store. I didn't dislike it, but it was just ho-hum. It was sort of a bit boring. And so when, with the Supernova expansion coming for Steam, that's when Brad Wardell, the CEO of Stardock, then sort of stepped in at that point to actually then do the Steam release. and revolutionised the game. And really, like the difference between the release from Epic and the Supernova release for Steam is chalk and cheese, in my opinion. I love I love all the changes that have come from the Epic release to this new one. So it is actually it is really an amazing transformation of the game, to be honest, into something that's very, very engaging and continues to become better and better and better, in my humble opinion. So for version 3.0, I'll most likely be asking the team to make the ship battles a bit uglier, but provide more information. This is something I've been asking for ever since, ever since the game did release. So for me, the purpose of ship battles is to help players see how different weapons and defense systems work together, as well as how to counter other designs. Perfect. I really want this. To be honest, this is actually something that I've been really wanting in the game for a long period of time. At the moment, the way that battles actually work in the game is that it's more fluff. Is when you look at the actual battle system. It's an auto battler to a large degree when you play GalCiv, and I can see why, because of the scale of the game. I was actually originally wanting to actually be able to control every ship in the tactical battle sense, but I do concede that would just be overwhelming if you were then playing in a like with large fleets, which is essentially where you end up with in GalCiv. So it sort of needs to be an auto battle system, but the actual battle when you watch it isn't actually it doesn't actually. The numbers don't coincide. You don't get to see what's actually happening with the actual combat itself. Like the combat log is out of sync with the visuals. So at the moment, the visuals have been done to make it look pretty, rather than, and this is where I think where he says uglier, because it's then going to have to start to show exactly what's really going on at that point in time. So at the moment, for example, ships will fire, but then the damage is applied as they fire. The trajectories are still going through space with the animations, and then 3 or 4 phases later, they actually end up hitting the ship, which has already taken the damage from 3 or 4 phases prior. So it's not a good system for people who like strategy games, because you don't get you don't get accurate feedback. So I'm very, very thankful that they're going to change that. This has been probably my major beef with the game since release. And I don't mean it's a big problem, but it's just one of those things that would be nice to to see what it actually is. James is then saying, you reckon that F124 will be on sale? As well. I'm not sure. I don't know what F124 is. I've got no idea. By the way, this is a sponsored stream, so I won't be deviating away from GalCiv with the Steam sale. I'll cover the Steam sale on my DasTactic session on Monday, but in more detail as a more of a global thing. But this is actually going to be just purely GalCiv 4 and the DLC. Okay, so there we go. So we've got my main beef remains that we lack a good way to force players into committing to a tech path design so that countering and counter-countering can be effective at the macro scale. In GalCiv 2, I solved that by having a rock, paper, scissors type mechanic, which I actually really liked, on weapons and defences, making it difficult to switch due to the cost of techs and defences on its own branch. Feel free to discuss your ideas on this in the comments section. This is good as well. Like, this is one thing I've missed since GalCiv 2, is the rock, paper, scissors design. You had to sort of commit to a direction, and then but if you switched over, like if you came up against somebody, you could then sort of switch into something that would counteract their strengths, and I do miss that in the game. I think that would be good. It sort of means that there's a little bit of something where you need to decide which direction you're going to head. But I'm interested to see how that's handled by Stardock with these other ones. UI. But you have hopefully noticed that as each update gets done, we improve the user interface in some way. The idea is to make information more accessible, text more readable, and executing your strategy more straightforward. There's some really big bugs, say in the current UI or in version 2.9. If there are some big bugs, to let them know in the comments. This has actually been a major approach for GalCiv 4, and particularly about halfway through its development, since release, has been the real connection with user experience. Is what I've sort of noticed in the development, which I really appreciate. It's one of those things that sort of subconsciously you just absorb it, but it makes the game feel so much more comfortable to play. So, final thoughts: there isn't anywhere near a complete list of improvements and changes for GalCiv 4 version 3.0, but should give you an idea of what we hope to accomplish. By the way, I hope you guys like Tales of the Arnor. I think you'll find it pretty fun and interesting, especially those of you who like there to be a bit more background lore in the game. That's not me, to be honest. I'll be honest. I like procedural content more so than structured content. It's through your support that we're able to continue this new content and updates. We'll have a quick look at that as well. Like Tales of the Arnor has also just come out in the last few weeks. And so this one actually is, this one will just give a bit of a summary as to what it actually does do. Galactic Civilizations Tales of the Arnor DLC launches today. Players a new machine race civilization, discover the history of the Yor and Iconians in a new campaign, and experience new in-game event content. So there is actually other content, even if you don't play the campaign style approach to it. So we have a Nyx. The Nyx is a the new pack includes a new civilization, the Nyx, a new campaign where players will uncover the origin of the Yor, and many new content such as the anomaly events, artifacts, crisis scenarios, and much more. So there is a lot of content. So there's a lot of things around the campaign. We might have a look at the Nyx. I'm not sure if that's something that you guys are interested in. I mean, let me know in the chat what you're sort of thinking, what you're looking for, and we'll sort of go from there. Yep, so as a Nyx, I'll have a chance to try a new machine race, which would be interesting, I think. Like that's a sort of like separate from all the other factions. Like I should go through the faction system as well when we get into it, just how to build a faction, because this is incredibly strong aspect of the game. Is the way that not like these are purpose built. Like the Nyx is a purpose built civilization, but the game itself actually has such a broad aspect of what it can actually build. It's incredible. Like I'm really struggle to think of other games that come close to the scope of and breadth of what you can actually then go and do with civilizations. New features, so new civilization, the Nyx, the Yor's forgotten ancestors. So before the Yor came the cold, calculating machines that they are today, they exist in different form. One of handcrafted sentient constructs designed by the Iconians. The Nyx are the original machine race, representing what the Yor were before their rebellion. Their technology and philosophy are distinct, and their impact on the galaxy is profound. So we've sort of got that one through there. And so this is actually the big thing with this one is a fully unique tech tree. For the first time since GalCiv 2, we've built a civilization with a completely different original tech tree from the ground up. The Nyx don't just reskin existing technologies, they play differently, think differently, and force players to adapt their strategies in new and exciting ways. They've got over 100 new technologies, from advanced drone warfare to powerful influence manipulation. The Nyx redefine how technology shapes an empire. 40 unique ship components. This would be fun to actually do a bit of a deep dive into this one, actually. And 70 plus planetary improvements. But actually, this is going to be extremely unique to players then. So beyond that, so you can play that in a random game, but then you've also then got a new campaign where for centuries the galactic records have told a simple story. The Yor, once machine servants of the Iconians, gained sentience, rebelled and took over their homeworld, Iconia. But that is not the full truth. The new Tales of the Arnor campaign mission takes players back to the origins of this fateful split. Witness the events that set the Yor into their path and decide for yourself who the true villains were. So that's the campaign. Again, I'm not really interested in campaigns personally. I know that most other players are, because it's the structured content does give much more structure to the direction that you do play. Even more content for every player. So this is sort of like the other bits and pieces you then get with this one. So even if you're not planning to jump into the campaign or play as a Nyx, Tales of the Arnor is packed with tons of new content that enhances every aspect of the game. So new anomaly events, new artifacts, new crisis scenarios, new civilization logos, more replayability, more surprises. Yeah, there we go. So as an added bonus, GalCiv 4 will be receiving a free update for all players today. That was earlier on. So update 2.5 will be introducing better gameplay here, blah blah blah, which we've sort of then covered. So that's the background details. This is all just little bits and pieces from it. So let's just go back and now start the actual game. So again, half an hour's time, guys, and then the Steam sale will kick in. So don't get the game just yet. Wait until the Steam sale is on in half an hour's time. So we'll sort of keep track of the money. Now I've got Australian dollars showing here. I can't really change it to American dollars. Otherwise, I would have it default to that with this. But we'll watch when the sale does kick. I've got no idea what the amount will be. But yeah, it's due to start in 25 minutes. So we'll come back at that point and have a bit of a look. Let's go in and play the game. And go through the aspects of getting it started. I'll be, as I said before at the start, I will be coming back in a couple of days' time to sort of, and then I'll be doing a lot of gameplay today as well. Like after we get past all of this sort of administration stuff, I guess, or the lead into the actual sale. But and so I'll go through what the game has got. But in a couple of days' time, I'm just going to be purely just doing gameplay. So, and we will be as well once we do get started. But we'll have a bit of a look and see what the new stuff is in the game, and I will just figure out the best place to pop my head as well once we do get going. It's funny with strategy games. So I sort of now hover my head above the bottom of the screen because there's usually so much. Information with different games. It seems to be the only real dead space seems to be just from the bottom right hand corner, but away from the edges. So anyway, let's just see what we get here. Yeah, so as was said before, Galactic Civilizations 4 launched. It wasn't great, I've got to say. Like it was a bit flat, actually, was probably the way I would sort of describe it. And then Supernova came about. So it's still, GalCiv 4 now, if you get it on Steam, is the Supernova version. There is no original GalCiv 4 version, I don't think, anywhere anymore. I think it's all now Supernova. I think it is. And that is now the U-Butte special version, which is, as I say, a great game. A very enjoyable Space 4X game. And quite approachable too, I've got to say. Like, you know, there's it's one of these games that you don't need to know a lot about playing the game to be able to enjoy it. And it's one of these games. I'll just quick past that one. I thought I had that one turned off. So here we are. So we've got version 2.95, which we've already just gone through what that actually does bring. Mega Structures is showing up through there. I'm not sure why Tales of the Arnor isn't, to be honest. I thought that would actually show Tales of the Arnor. It shows you the DLC presentation usually there. If I just go to new game, let me just have a quick look. Maybe I've got things turned off. I may have to go back. I was going to actually set all this up and actually play for a couple of hours before I did the stream. But then I thought, oh, look, I really want to be doing. I thought it'd be a good idea to actually do this before the Steam sale starts, just to get all this stuff out of the way. If people do have any questions, we can then sort of show it. I'll just go and see if there's a Nix in this one. So this is the different factions that I've got. If I don't see the Nix, that's not them there, I don't think, is it? Yeah, it is the Nix. Okay, so they are in here. So we do actually have it sort of running in through this other side. So so this one we can actually play as this if we wanted to. So this is actually like a unique faction that is outside of a lot of the aspects of the actual game with its own unique tech tree. So the Nix at the bottom of the screen, and I am right in the worst spot for showing where the button actually is, but it's at the bottom of the button through here. And so the original Nix series of yore that were handmade by the Arconians, they would later produce the yore as we know today. Though modelled by mechanical design, they have refined their shared consciousness into a formidable presence in the galaxy. So they've got different abilities. Now they've got different things in through here, adaptable, iron-born. I'll go through how the ability system does work. So again, we'll do a bit of a deep dive into the way that civilizations are structured in the game. Efficient and colony ship is sort of what they end up getting at the start. Their cultural focus is progressivism, and their phenotype is artificial. And we'll go through what all of these different things actually are. As a synthetic species, Yor don't require food, so we do use Yor citizens. So even though we're the Nyx, and Yor essentially are mechanical. This is another thing I hope that they will look at a bit more deeply, and we'll construct a civilization, but we'll probably come back and play as the Nyx, or maybe I'll ask you guys what you think, if you prefer to see the Nyx or something we do construct. I don't think we can actually build a civilization based on the Nyx, but we can certainly build anything we like. Let's just see if we can actually. Like if we go across, this is actually, most of these ones at the top part of the screen are ones that I've generated, like just the random ones that you can then generate in the game itself, and then the core ones sort of a bit further back. I don't think that one there is the Verdant Harvesters. No, that was one that I generated. I've forgotten. I've been playing so many different versions of it that I've forgotten actually what I've generated and what I haven't. But this one, the Terran Alliance, is sort of like the start of the actual game itself. And the first cutscenes you see are from the Terran Alliance. So Beach is saying, arrived. This game interests me. It's a great game. It's a very approachable game, and this is one of the things that is makes it really quite enjoyable to play. It's one of these games where as I said before, I feel energized when I play it, just because everything is bright and lively, and so it's sort of like often Space 4X games are fairly drab, but this one has just had so much work done on its user experience and user interface. You know, it's really quite nice. The user interface actually changes also depending on what faction you play. So it will actually sort of just the colors will tweak differently. And so we're seeing the colours we're seeing at the moment. The blue are the Terran colours. So as we sort of go through, it'll stay. See how it's now changed to this sort of pinkish colour to then sort of reflect the Festron hunt. So as you build your faction, you actually do get it. It's just a subconscious thing, but it does really play. It makes it feel different every time you play it because of these little subtle things. Bitches are saying I played the third one and loved using my own images for custom empires. You know, I haven't built that yet. I did one in GalCiv 3 called the DasBots, which was I made 3D models and all sorts of stuff to sort of then go and do it. You can, for the custom empires, you can sort of do that one, but it now uses an AI generation, which is based on Stardoc's IP. So that we'll show you that when it gets into it anyway. But you can upload still, but I haven't done it. I keep on meaning to go and actually spend some time actually building my own faction. It's so easy to do it in the game. Like it's not really back in GalCiv 3 and GalCiv 2 if you tried to sort of structure anything like that. Actually, GalCiv 3, I guess in particular, it didn't take very long to do it, but it had nowhere near the depth of GalCiv 4. You'll be surprised actually if you're used to building something in GalCiv 3, when you see what you can do in this game, it's like chalk and cheese. It's unbelievable. Anyway, these are the different sort of structured, these are the ones that are preset, but they still just use this sort of focus in through here. You can see this one's insectoid. So you've got all sorts of different ones. This one here's humanoid. These are insectoids as well. This will be mammalian. Humanoid again, etc., etc. And again, look at just the subtle changes to the user interface when we click on each of these. Humanoid, then you've still got the different humanoids in through here. This is sort of like the Drengen are one of the aggressive factions in the galaxy. Where you also have the core, the Korath clan, which is also this is Drengens on steroids. I loved these in the original games, and so they've got like a very different type of ability. But let's go and create our own initially, just so you can sort of see the process, because the process of creating a faction in this game is extremely easy. That there are a few little tips that I will give you. I don't think that they would have changed this yet. I hope that they do give a bit of love to the approach that you take when you do create a new faction, because at the moment it's better to actually flip back and forwards a little bit, and I will still get that run wrong. They may have already worked on this a little bit. So if I just go into custom civilization, the way it sort of starts, and it does take a little bit of time to load different things in usually. So it'll, yeah, there it goes. It's now loaded this one in, and what it's done is it's just sort of randomised a start through here with the way it sort of does work. Just very, very briefly, you've got the biology section of what you're going to end up with. You've got the abilities section back and through here as well, which then goes. Then this is unbelievable what this page actually does do, and then you've got the fleet section back and through here as well. So this will then sort of be the overall look of your fleets. This page doesn't have a real big bearing on what's actually going on. This is much more just visual, but it's still, again, immersive, so it is fairly important. So Nasfo is in saying, hi Daz, 26 here and only 2 likes so far. Oh, okay. That's okay, that's fine. Yeah, please like and subscribe, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't mind. Anyway, biology. Biology is really where we start with constructing a faction. Now you can go and start to structure these things as well if you're wanting to, but I think you're better off to just write, like it says, type a short description of the civilization. You don't even need to do that. You can actually just type anything you like. So, for example, if we go to robot, what should we do? Like just some random words. What should we do? Should we do robot, hot climate, likes eating humanoids? So we can just write anything that we want through there and just go to generate. When we generate it, what it will then go and do is it will then look at what the words that we've used to then try to structure something that it thinks will then fit with what we've actually done. It will then generate, so consume, conquer, adapt. So in the depths of space, a formidable force known as the Scorching Steel Eaters roams, their metallic bodies glinting under the harsh glare of distant sun. So it's sort of using like a AI to write the description based on the words that we sort of put in there. Which I never used to fill these things in, to be honest, in GalCiv 3. I just used to just leave them blank, but this one does just do that. And this is, so it does that part of it, so which is like fairly easy now for AI. This will search for more images and match your description. So yes, you can actually, again, you can actually upload your own, but in this case, it's now going to search for robotic forces that would sort of, that it thinks would then sort of work well. Now these are again sort of really just generated from the IP, so there's not a real lot of these available as such. Like it's not as if you're going to like the full gamut of anything at all. But if I go and choose, I don't really like any of those, maybe that one there. If I click on that one and go more images like this, but even this has always been a bit clunky for me. This one actually, it's not terrible. But maybe this one here. I'll go and choose that one there as an example. So if I go and, that's one thing I would have liked to see as well, is for the game to keep your selection on there as well. Like if you go more like this, then that should be one of the next 9 that then sort of is generated. So just go and click on done. And so it will then change what we see in through here, the portrait, and then it's got the actual portrait in there that it's then generated. So this is AI generated as well. Logo, it didn't change, so we still need to change the logo, but it did a few different things here already. So what it's done is it's gone and given us the yaw, which is the species. Now we can choose different species as well, so we'll have a look at this as well, but in this case it's now gone and decided that the yaw should be our civilization type. So if we have a look at the actual species itself, this is where you end up with a whole lot of different sort of civilization types. These are not random. So it is important. This is one of the most important things that you decide what to do. These are essentially the base civilians in the game. And so I don't know if it's easy enough to sort of build your own, but there's a lot in here. Like, there's the cyborgs, which is artificial. Mammalian, yeah, but we'll just go back to any of the actual artificial factions. There's not too, like you can see there's a lot in here, but there's the fungal factions, navigators, onyx, reptilians, insectoid, water-based, reptilian, So there's a lot of different types. The good old Snathy. It's funny, I used to hate the Snathy in GalCiv 3, but I quite like them now. Yeah, I absolutely hated them. It's like they were just, for me, they were terrible when they first came in. But you got even things like demons, dwarves, elves, star frogs, yeah, so on and so forth down through here. But there's not you can see there's not a real lot of artificial, only really the two. So I'll just go with Yor is the one that we do need to sort of, so that is the best choice for us. So you can create a new species down in here. Again, if you upload all of your different aspects. One thing I don't know is if you can, if they've got civilian types actually split off with the workshop, because there's actually a very active workshop as well. But so you can actually create a species and create your own. But in this case, I'll just leave it where that actually is. It does actually have different traits. So it's relative diligence is +2, relative intelligence is +2, so its social is -2. These are aspects we'll see when we get into the actual game itself. The civilian approval is say 50, relative expectations is -30. This is good. Essentially, it means that that they're accepting of poor quality. Pollution effects on approval is nothing, so pollution doesn't affect them at all. Food consumption, they don't use food, so this is actually plays quite differently to other factions. Like for example, if I went to the Zoloxy as an example and just sort of chose them as my actual group, you'll see that it's quite different with what it does actually bring in. So it's the relative expectations is +5, pollution effects is -15. So it's quite different. These ones do consume food. Zombies, I haven't played with these ones. These, yeah, they only eat half a food per month, as an example, and their approval rating is extremely high. So they're just happy to be around. Anyway, we'll just go back with the Yor. And actually, there is Get More. This is the I haven't tried this actually. Let's have a quick look and see if how this is structured. There we go. So there are different civilizations in through here. So I'm guessing it's been yeah, all phenotypes. So there's actually a whole lot of them in here that have actually that you can actually download as well. So yeah, there's a group of them that people have actually sort of structured and built. So that's pretty cool. There we go. So it's the most popular over the course of 1 week. Let's go back to the game. We'll just choose that species anyway. So we'll just go with the Yor. The Yor is fine. So that it then sort of figures out what you really do need to have there. And by all means, when you're doing this, you may decide, yeah, I want to tweak that and change it to something different. When we come across the phenotype, so is artificial. So artificial species have extensive integrated technology into their biology, enhancing or altering their capabilities. Artificial species do not require food and do not have any natural growth. They must be constructed on planets using the Manufacture Population Project. So we've got a different way of creating our civilizations if we do this one. Synthetic biology, so -20 expectations and -1% approval per farming. Now, the expectations has gone down a further 20, more than what we saw there with the actual species. So this gets applied over the top of other modifiers, and the game does this a lot, where it actually has aspects that impact other aspects, and makes it really quite deep and rewarding to play. The cultural focus, I don't know if we can change that as such with what we've sort of now got, but that's the overriding aspect of the actual species that we're using. Actually, there would be this one here. If we chose the species, it would change up in here. The cultural focus, totalitarianism. We can actually change that to one of the others. So we have a whole lot of them. Like nihilism is sort of like the full-on aggression, and so these actually then impact what we can unlock during the game. So this is sort of an aspect that that does different things. But totalitarianism, actually, I'm happy with that one. So we'll just leave that one there. The personality is really, really interesting. This is merciless and expansionist is what we ended up getting through here, and you'll see there that there's a heap of them in through here with what you can actually then have. So from benevolent, pragmatic, merciless, aggressive, peaceful, and these actually have These are essentially what the personality of a AI player will be. So not for you, not so much for you, but if the AI plays as this particular one, this is its set of rules that it will then use against you. And the civilization name, as we sort of saw there, that had been sort of structured in through this other site. Ember Prime Dominator or something is what we actually have. We can go and customize this as well if we wanted to sort of customize the descriptions, but we don't have to. The logo, I will just go across and choose a new logo. There's a lot to choose from in here. A lot of different ones, with even more now added with the DLC. And you can actually browse again and upload your own if you're wanting to as well. So there's a heap of them that are actually in here. Even going back to the old originals from the old game, but we'll just go maybe up the top here somewhere and just pick something that looks fairly mechanical. That'll do. Done. I haven't tried putting my own logo in there actually. I should do that. So now just going back through. Sorry, I'm missing a few of the comments there. So Thor Nellerman saying. Prostitute robots from outer space. Yeah, you can do anything you like. You can literally write anything in there. It's funny actually. Like I find it better to not put in too much detail into the description and just put in keywords, and you end up with some interesting results by putting all sorts of random things in there. So Leia's saying, have you ever played Space Empire, Daz? Space Empires, was it with the S on the end of it? That's a really old game. I have back in the day, in the 90s. And Beach is saying, does that mean that your images and descriptions are unique to you? No, I don't know if there's a big bank of generated images. I think it may be a big bank. Not that I've seen the same image twice, to be honest. So I think it may be generated from the what Stardock has already sort of created themselves. So that it's been trained to use their style. I've certainly seen faces that appear, similar faces that appear in the various images. There was a limit to how many of these you could generate as well, like it would stop you from generating too many, but I can't remember what that limit actually is, to be honest. I did wreck it once, like as you know, I went beyond the limit and then it said no, can't show any more, because it has to go back to the server, generate them and then show them back to you. This is not done in game. So this one has to, you need to have, like to generate these images has to be done elsewhere. So that sort of is now set up essentially the basis for the civilization that we're just creating. But it gets even better, because if we go to the abilities now, this is really where the game itself has well and truly left the older versions of GalCiv behind. By the way, that Steam sale is about to start in about 5 minutes' time, so we'll have a look and see what the actual deal is. I hope it's not just a 5% off or something like that. I'm assuming it's going to be something a bit more substantial, but anyway, if you are on the fence about the games, hopefully this little half hour or 3/4 of an hour presentation beforehand is whetting your appetite about whether you want to get the game or not. And so we don't have to sort of change these things too much if we don't want to, but I always like to tweak these a little bit. The thing that's really, really interesting about this is actually the civilization abilities. And they're sort of hidden away a little bit here, but these are incredible. When you actually sort of hover over them. So this is Ravenous. I'll show you the scope of what we actually have. This is the scope of what you can pick. And you've got 2 picks. So it sort of like mixes one with the other. Like you get like, it's like if you get bubble tea, you know how you buy the tea but then you get the different flavoured bubbles that go into the bottom of it? This is like that. When you've got one flavour and a second flavour that then goes in with it. So they could have, if they wanted to, just have one, and that would have still been a lot. There's over 40 of these. I think there's over 40. Actually, Ironborn is a new one, I think. The Ironborn forged their hulls from nearly stronger allies, granting all their ships enhanced armour. So these are, some of these are really, really detailed, and some of them aren't all that detailed at all. Okay, so Beach is saying, glad you said there was a sale. It was about, okay, no, don't buy yet, guys, don't buy yet. Literally minutes away, so don't get it yet. So, Hi Korosami, how you going? Yeah, so nice analogy. It was sort of, it's not even that. It's just like eating two flavors, and the combination, it means you've got like 40 times 40 different combinations you can play, and these are dramatic, the way it sort of does work. Like, for example, the ones that it actually chose for us, we don't have to choose them, we don't have to stick with them, is Ravenous. And if you look at the tooltips for Ravenous, this actually receives 1,000 credits and plus 10% approval for 25 months after conquering a planet. It also grants the ability to consume aliens and spawn new citizens. This then goes back, it's chosen this based on what we had written in that very, very brief description. So it's thought, yeah, this one works in that sense. So we get 1,000 treasury, 20% approval, allows the hatcheries tech, unlocks swarm executive orders, unlocks planetary clairvoyance executive orders, blocks the telescope takeover executive order. So we've got all these different things that then impact how the game is then played based on this one little choice that we've got. The other one over through here is cybernetic. So it gives access, you can see this is not, the tooltip is nowhere near as big. So it gives access to more powerful technologies and improvements for racers who are not afraid to interface with superior technologies. Allows life extension tech, allows cybernetics tech, and allows immortality tech. So we end up with different parts of the tech tree sort of coming in by actually having this particular one. We don't have to choose those. There's so many of these. As I say, there's over 40. There's Voyages. This is sort of like a fairly basic one. Plus 2 ship sensor range and plus 1 ship moves. This is one of my favourites, to be honest, is getting that one through there. War Profiteers. It's just, I won't go through all of them at all, actually, because there's just so many. But there is just such a lot in here. And they really change the way every single faction plays. And it's dramatically good. I'll keep this one Ravenous and Cybernetic. We then come up the top through here are the civilization traits, and and again, these will be more random than anything. Like, so it's gone with rich, so it's gone with a little bit of richness in through here. So this one here costs 1 point. We only have 3 points total to choose from in here. So our gross income goes up by 10%, and fast means that we actually travel at plus 2 moves with our ships, so we actually sort of can travel a little bit faster. I think when version 3 comes out, this is going to be very, very strong. A very strong pick, because it sounds like they're going to be slowing the ships down a little bit. So having an extra 2 moves will be very, very good. But there's all sorts of different things in through here, changing all sorts of different ways that you then sort of operate. You can go and get other points as well, like if there's something that you, like if we don't want to be likable, for example, we can have diplomacy bonus -2, grab that one, that gives me 1 point back, and I can then go and pick up something else. Clever, I could go that way and get research of plus 10%. Let's do that. So that way we've just got like that sort of style. Then we come down to the overall look of the actual game itself. So the map theme. Again, this is, I love that what they've done with this is they've you can actually make a custom theme or get a custom theme to for the actual map itself. And this will be the overall look of what you then play with. So it's got like an orange sort of look to it. I haven't looked at custom. Oh, there we go. So you've got faction selection, influence lines, strategic icons, and rally points. This is actually the color scheme that you can then choose for these different things. So you can actually build your own. You've got the interface theme. This is actually what is then shown around you. It's using the Memot theme in through there. Again, I can go with default hot, default highlight. So I can sort of just change the colors here. You don't have to use the RGB sliders, by the way. If you're not familiar with RGB, you can just pick from the color wheel. The way this one works is you've got the full rainbow that goes all the way across, and then you've got from essentially the brightness, which is that, sorry, it's not blue, but this essentially is the brightness going from white down to black. So you can sort of change different things. For example, like you can. I don't know if it'll, like you can, if you wanted to get a grey, which doesn't really sort of show in this sort of model, you can go and choose something. Like if I choose something that's going to be like in here or something for the default, and I want it to be more grey, I would just bring these sliders up a little bit to sort of then try to make it so that the amounts ended up being a bit more grey. You can sort of see that it's becoming more grey as I do that one. If I end up with them all exactly the same, it will end up being grey, which is not really something we can pick from this color wheel, but you can go and change that, and you can see there it's now changing what's actually happening there. If you sort of increase the blue a little bit, I can then sort of change the way that the overall game sort of looks. But anyway, you can do that if you're wanting to. I'll just click on done. I'll just go back and maybe sort of choose one of the others. And so you've got like these are again are the main sort of themes that you end up having. We might go with the Drengen theme, make it sort of red. Kryn theme is the music theme as well. You've got different music. You can't customize that, but you do actually have all sorts of different musical themes in the game. So so that again, you've got all of those. The command ships are an interesting aspect as well. Actually, the sale has now started, guys. So let's now have a look and see. Which is saying, just curious, could someone using custom images create a Star Wars or Warhammer 40k game? Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you should be able to a degree. There's classes of ships, and you have to sort of stick within those classes of ships. When we get into the combat, you'll sort of see how that works, and it sounds like that's going to get a little bit of attention coming up in the next iteration of the game. But yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's very possibly, if you have a look at the workshop, I think there's already been work done on that sort of stuff, to be honest. I think you can. I've never bothered loading it in because it always seemed half-assed. It wasn't really it wasn't done thoroughly, you know, if you know what I mean. Like from what I could sort of see, it was always just done, here's a Imperial destroyer or something like that. It wasn't like here's a full set. But you can build whatever you like in the game, like, to be honest. So anyway, the command ships, actually, before we do that, let's just quickly go out now and have a look at the, so it was $58.50 Australian dollars. Has it kicked in yet? What's the deal that we have? It's still loading. Everyone's looking. 50% off. There we are. So spring sale has now started. So yeah. So that's a good. Yeah, so I'm glad that you waited. I'm glad you waited before you bought. So what we have now is we've got the Steam sale has kicked in. I'll just press F11 so it goes full screen. So yeah, by Galactic Civilizations 4 Supernova Edition. So they're still calling it Supernova, but that is GalCiv 4. You can't get anything else other than this one. It'll last for actually, this is only a special promotion. It only lasts for a handful of days. Oh no, it goes for a week. Yeah, so this one is going to go for exactly a week. So 50% off for these. Then you do actually have the bundle information as well, which is the essentially an expansion pass. This is sort of more specific to what you've got, I think, but that is coming down a little bit from what it was if you wanted to get sort of everything. So it does actually have those in through there. The DLC, let's have a look at all the different DLCs. You just go to browse all. Is it going to give us the pricing? No, it's not. Press F11, go back. Do it there, F11. So that's funny. It's not got. Doesn't have Tales of the Arnor there. Oh, there it is at the top. Yeah. So Tales of the Arnor looks like it's not on special, but and Mega Structures isn't on special as well. But the others are 20% off. So you've got the others in through there. These actually add other additional aspects to the game, and these have always been good as well. I've enjoyed each one of these as they've come in. So that you've got the different DLCs there with a little bit off as well. So, but the base game 50% off. Yeah, it's certainly worth grabbing that one. So anyway, that's Galactic Civilizations with the Steam sales. So we'll just keep on moving on. So it is a nice discount, Jim. Yes, it is. Is Supernova all the DLC? No, it's not. So the way it works is that and I've sort of just covered this a little bit before, but if we go in and have a look at this, we started off with this journal, but I'll just go through it because this summarises the development. Yeah, for GalCiv 4, Derek Paxton, or Kale, if you know him as Kale, was assigned as a lead designer. Now he's been with Stardock for a long period of time. With me completing the Supernova expansions. Derek Paxton has now moved on from Stardock. You know, it was all happy and mutual, like, from what I understand. There was no animosity there at all. But he's moved on to other projects. But he actually started off developing GalCiv 4. And with Brad Wardell, the person writing this one, completing the Supernova expansion. So what actually happened was, and this is why That's why I don't like exclusives that go to Epic, to be honest, because the game, like Epic, gave them funding to develop GalCiv 4 as long as there was a 1 year exclusive for basically for the Epic Game Store. So GalCiv 4 released on Epic but not on Steam, and so for a year it was on Epic, but it was a bit of a bland game, to be honest. It wasn't that great. And so to do something where you've got then a release a year later for a game, for example, coming to Steam, which is really where most people actually are buying their games, quite often it's very hard to actually then go and have enough new content into a game to make it so that it becomes a viable and a big game at launch. You'll often find that games that went through the Epic 1 year prior will have a very, very poor rating in Steam, and so this is actually one of these things that it's just funny because people actually sort of tend to punish companies for doing that one, but it allows them to develop the games because they get the money up front. I think Epic have now stopped doing that, by the way, but it was something I never liked that aspect. I sort of felt it was it damaged the long life of games, and so it's a lot of work you have to do then to make it work when it does come to Steam. And so when Derek had left and then Brad had taken over as the lead designer to bring it into Steam after a year, he then really had a really good look at it and thought this isn't really what he wanted. And it's, to be honest, the changes that he's made have been revolutionary. Like, we've gone through a lot of those as well. Just like, all sorts of things were added in and tweaked and made to make it a really great game. Like from a game that was okay on the Epic release to a great game, occurred over that bit over a year actually, because the game didn't release. They didn't actually release it fully when the year was up, because they were still tweaking some things. And so to try to differentiate it between the Epic game and the Steam game, they didn't release GalCiv 4, the original game, on Steam at all. They released GalCiv 4 Supernova. It became confusing because anyone who had the Epic game was only playing the old, I won't say crappy version, but the crappier version of the game, whereas anyone who bought it on Steam was playing the Supernova version. It was still the same base game, but what's happened since then is I think they've now gone retrospectively back through, and originally you could buy the Supernova version as a little bit of an add-on if you had the Epic version of the game, but now I think it's all one big version just called Supernova. So GalCiv 4, it's confusing, but GalCiv 4 is GalCiv 4 Supernova, which is now sort of the base game. So the DLC was then added on top of Supernova, so you end up getting the DLCs that sort of then enhance it. So Supernova is not like a season pass. So if we have a bit of a look at what they've got through here, they do actually have the expansion pass bundle. This is what you get with this one through here. If we have a look at the bundle info. So this one is, about the bundle. So you end up getting the soundtrack, Tales of Centauron, which has been released, Warlords released, and through here, Species, Megastructures, Tales of the Arnor, and should be the base game as well, I thought. Maybe not. Price of individual products, yeah, there it is there, bundle discount. So you do get a discount by getting this anyway, but then you get the discount again on top at the moment with the 20% off those different things. So this one does give you all of the DLC, and the DLC has been substantial. Like, it's been very, very good. If you go back as well, this is actually one of these things where, just go back out again, and just get rid of the broadcast. So if we have a bit of a look at this one, again, when you have a look at it, it's you see this is the ratings that it sort of does actually have. You see all reviews, and again, 73%. This essentially is because, again, games get punished a little bit if they do come through the Epic release. It's certainly much better than 73, and then it's now up to sort of like an 80% rating in the last 30 days. So we'll start to sort of see what people really do think of the game more realistically now, I think, with the recent reviews more than anything else. But the game just gets better and better all the time. It's a very approachable game to play in the way it sort of does actually work. I'll just read a few more of the comments there. So I bought all the DLC and GalCiv 4 at a discount using only third-party website Steam keys. There we go. So Old World was on Epic at the beginning sourly. Old World is an awesome game. Yeah, that's another game that came through the Epic, and that took a lot of work, again, to actually get that one released properly on Steam. Like, so some games can do it, but some games can't. And I'm really thankful that we've got games like GalCiv 4 that actually are that have been able to overcome that hurdle of bringing it to Steam a year later than Epic. It's actually good, because it's often very difficult to sort of get a game to be positively received after that 1 year. So Beach is saying, so I need to buy Supernova and the bundle to have it all. It looks like it is that way. Let's have a bit of a look. Yeah, so it's 50% off the base game. Yeah, and it looks like it's now, and this is Australian dollars, so I'm not sure what it is. If I was guessing what this is for US dollars, I'm guessing $20, I would think, around there for US dollars. And this one would be around about $35 US, I think, for the Galactic, for the expansion pass, which looks like it is all of the extras. I don't know if there's extra things that come with the expansion pass in the future. I'm not sure about what else what the plans are going forward, but that is that's essentially where we are. So that's the So it looks like the this is so that is the expansion pass bundle. So you can actually bundle them all up and get them all, which a lot of games do that nowadays. So and it's showing you do get the special there anyway, but you then get an extra 12%. Essentially now, because of the 20% off everything else as well. Now there's always a question: is it worth getting the DLCs? So if we have a look at the DLCs that are in here, in fact, if we have a look at the browser all, I will just go through these very, very briefly. Tales of the Arnor. I haven't played this. Today is really the first time I've really had a good look at this one. I don't tend to play campaigns, but I do like the idea of having a faction in there that plays very uniquely, and so the Nyx is a completely different one. So for me, I can't really comment much about whether this one is just how valuable it actually is. Mega Structures is you can see it's fairly expensive in terms of the DLC, but it adds an awful lot to the actual game itself, and so this one is, I think, a good one to get hold of if you can get it a bit cheaper, in particular. So Mega Structure sort of allows a different way of actually constructing in space, which I think is this is one that I was looking forward to, but I didn't know how it was all going to work. But again, the game mechanics of this is very, very good. The Species Pack. So expand your universe with Galactic Civilizations 4 species. You can see there that's pretty cheap anyway. This just goes with different types of species you can then sort of go and put into the actual game itself. You saw those when we were looking through. It's probably not, it's again immersion. This one, I think, more than anything. It does sort of certainly add stuff to the game, but probably not essential. I would sort of say, just with what I sort of think in through there. Then we've got the Warlords expansion. This one is essential. Okay, so unleash the unparalleled strategic depth and tactical flexibility in the Warlords expansion. This completely changes your approach. Well, not completely, but it puts a layer of strategy over the top of the way that you design your ships in particular, and that's for everyone. It does a lot of things. That's probably really the main, for me, that's the main thing. I can't see it easily there, but you've got different ship classes. I can't go and show, well, that was it there, but anyway, it's but that is one that's probably my favorite DLC that was released. Let's just go forward, back up through here. Yep, we've done that one. Actually, these are all just other little additions, aren't they? Yeah, species. Then we've got Tales of Centauron. This again is more of a if you enjoy playing, what is it? We do actually have like missions like Return of the Korath and things like this. So if you enjoy campaigns and stuff like that, then this one would be okay. And then finally, we've got the soundtrack in through there. Again, this one released pretty much at release, just as an extra little bits and pieces that you can sort of grab through that one through there. Not really essential, but I think Warlords is essential. I think that Mega Structures, I would say, is essential as well. They're the two big ones that really came The other ones are just nice to have. They're certainly cheaper as well. So yeah, there's a lot in there. I guess a lot of content that sort of is now being put into the actual into the game itself. All right, let's go back and play our game. So I'll just go back out to the base one. So yeah, so the sale has just kicked in. Again, if you've got any questions that you'd like to see, it is $20. There we go, and 30. So it's $20 and $37 in the US. There we are. I was pretty good with my guess, wasn't I? $29.95. It's the Australian dollar is a lot weaker than the US dollar, but anyway, that's sort of where that one is. Just saying, £16 in the UK, good price. I bought a Steam key at 20. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's good. That's good. So it is a good deal. It's 50% off, guys. 50% off. Hi Wiggly, how you going? So the Steam sale has just kicked in. So yeah, by all means, grab it, because that is a good price off. To be honest, it's an excellent game. So anyway, we're still just building this particular group, and we don't even know if we'll play this with this particular one. I just wanted to show you the scope of what you can build in the game. So anyway, we got down to commander ships. The commander ships are essentially, these are special ships that you can unlock that allow you to do special things in the game. Now, we've got different classes of ships. And so if we have a bit of a look at these, we've got world supporting ships, legendary ships, expansion ships, missile, aggressive, scavenger, defender. These all do different themed things, but you have to choose which one you want to go with. Star chaser ships, what do? These are versatile ships designed to protect and spread influence. These are mainly to do with influence. Conquest ships, a selection of war-fighting ships with formidable conquest potential. That looks like more our style. So let's go and grab those. The conquest ships back and through here. The planet type is barren, is what's been chosen for us. The world name is Furnace Prime, which is because we wrote hot, remember, in the biology. What did we write? Robot, hot climate, light city, humanoids. So again, you can sort of see just from those little words, it's done an awful lot. So we're on a barren world called Furnace Prime, and the star system is the Iridium system. These you actually can choose, but you don't get to construct as such. I don't think you can. Go and have a look and see if we go to edit. There's presets in through here. There is, I don't think there's any randoms. Yeah, no, you sort of end up essentially with like a home world. So the Iridium home system contains a class 29 terrestrial world and a small world with high wealth. I'll just leave it on that one for now. So we'll just click on done. Barren, we don't need food on for our civilization, because we're just robots. So a barren world would be okay. We go back up the top through here. We've already done all this one through here. The fleet style. So we've got again, you can upload and build all your own if you're wanting to. Beach is saying, I play Paradox games. I can't play a game unless I have all of the deals. Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. Thankfully there's not thousands of with this game. But it will continue getting development, which means that there will be a DLC that will dribble through every so often, every 6 months or so, I would guess, for GalCiv 4. Anyway, fleets. So we've got the Iridium ship style back and through here. I can change the style of the ship. Now, this is the look, and you can build your own style of ship. But let's have the question before was, could you actually end up with a class, with a group of ships that would then give you a experience, for an example, Star Wars. And of course, they've got to be careful with any sort of IP. But if we go and get more, if we go and click on get more in through here, I will then be taken back to the workshop. And from here, we'll then sort of go and see what they've used for. It's got all ships, and so these are one-offs. And so this is what I mean. Like you can get one-off ships, but to get like a full grouping, unfortunately, is not really. It's not going to do it, I don't think. So like you can see there, this is purely just a TIE fighter. It's a good design, but it's not the whole. There's a Star Trek one, for example. So people have actually built ships in the game. It's got a very easy builder, but I haven't seen full collections, or I haven't played the game enough to sort of go and try to get like a full collection of ships. You sort of end up just getting sort of like individual ships usually. So I tend to just use the actual the ship styles that come with the actual game itself. But you can, if you wanted to, go ahead and go and build those. When I'm evaluating what the ship's going to look like, it starts off with probe. I always like to go down to one of the larger ships, like a cruiser or something at least. You just get a feel to see if it's this, if it's what I want to actually be playing in through here. So we've got the ship classes. So this is actually using the so this is it using the settings that we've got. So we've got the we've got available templates. So ship classes available template. There is, I don't know what we can do there. Core user. Oh yeah. So these are just Altarians. So these are the various ship types that have been done in the game. But I'll just leave it there. This one is coming in with the Iridium ship styles. If I go, I can choose a lot of these, or I can go and try to pick up an actual full ship style. But I haven't seen a good collection of these, to be honest, on the workshop. I haven't looked for a long time. But you do actually have like a whole heap of these. I don't mind the overall look of the ship. So mainly look at when you bring the ship style in, just mainly have a look at the actual overall look. And I think that for us, the overall look of that one looks pretty good for the description that we've actually got. So, and this is just built with different components. The ship colours, at this stage, it's gone with the Festron colours. We can change this to other colour schemes. I think I almost prefer that to a degree. It's default, that's just grey. Again, we can go and change these. So we can actually change the colour scheme ourselves. So we can go like the primary colour, we can have grey. The secondary colour, make it sort of red. Lights can make it so that they end up being sort of like more of a white. Windows go white as well. Engines will go sort of like an orange colour. Engine trails will go with an orange trail as well. So that's using blue. We'll just go with red and green. So if I do red and then a bit of green, we're going to make it a bit more orangey. So I'll just do that. So if I just go and close that one, I can then go and customize the colors on the actual design itself. Just click on done. That will then appear here. It should. Did that do it? Didn't look like it did. Got those colors there. Maybe it has. So that's the color schemes. I'll just go back and just customize that again. Primary. I'll just change. I don't think I can change that much. Oh, it is changing it there in real time. Yeah, secondary, we're not seeing secondary colours on this one. Yeah, I'll choose... I will choose that one. Just click on done. So that's the actual overall look with the colour schemes. Then you've got the actual texturing as well. So the game actually does have texturing here, like you've got damaged hexes, damaged tiles. So you can sort of change the overall look of the textures that are then sort of used. Got different diamond plate, scales... Okay, and hexes, blank. I might just leave it blank actually. Secondary as well. Like we're seeing little snippets. They're actually just showing in through here. I'll just go with circuits. Primary, you've then got, this is actually the saturation of the ships themselves. So you can actually change all of these things. So I can go metallic, which makes it more reflective. So low reflectivity. I'd quite like that one actually. Medium reflectivity. That's high reflectivity. No modification, just desaturated, non-metallic, metallic saturated, yeah, so low. I'll just go to, I'll go back to low, I think. So actually that's saturated, so there's still even more of them coming back through. If I just go back to asteroid, uranium, resources, no modification, non-metallic, metallic. So if I just keep it purely, that's too much. Low reflectivity, I'm back to there again. I'll just go that way. So we'll just keep that. That will be the actual overall look of the ship that we're sort of now starting to build. And then the secondary is, again, just going to be, it's just changing little tweaky parts of the ship itself. I'll just go with, I'll just go high reflectivity back in there. So that then personalizes our own sort of ships, the way it sort of does work. Again, there's so much you can do with the customization in the game. So we'll save the civilization. So this one here we can save. We can upload this to, if we think, oh wow, we've done a great job, we're going to upload this to the Steam Workshop. But not going to do that. We're just going to save our civilization. Again, always just go back and have another quick look to make sure that you've really got everything you need. Your commander ships, these sorts of things. Your biology. Make sure that all of this. This actually has had some attention because it didn't used to fill a lot of these things in, but this has now done a good job of filling in all of these different things based on those 6 words that we put in there at the start. So it actually has done a good job. The only thing we really changed here was was tweaking this very, very slightly to put clever in and changing it to conquest ships. But even the other ships would have still been okay. And we've just changed the overall look and through here. It's now gone back. This is why you don't really want to be using the ships that you sort of see through here as just going. Don't start with the probe. Always evaluate with something that's a bit bigger and meatier. It will give you a much better feel for what the overall ships will then end up looking like in the game. Actually, that's now too reflective, isn't it? It's a bit too much. Yeah, I'll go that way. Okay, we'll save our civilization there. I'm just going to grab myself a drink of water. Be right back. Sorry, just have to make some soda water briefly. So this is it here. The Scorching Steel Eaters has now been constructed. So this can now be part of what we have in a game, if we're wanting it to do that. What I'll do is I might just I don't know whether we play with this one or we play with the other one that comes through with the new DLC, which is the Nix down through here, which has got its own tech tree. So it's got a unique tech tree. Leave it in the chat if you really want to see. Sorry, I'll just read a few more of the comments in through here. My only exception was, sorry, Chris is saying my only exception was Stellaris. Too much DLC, I could not afford to keep up. I kind of abandoned Stellaris now. My go-to Space 4X is GalCiv 4 in Distant Worlds with a bit of Interstellar Space Genesis for good measure. I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. That's pretty much my where I focus. Curry's saying, hey Daz, is the game music always as loud as this? The track is, or is it the sound setting? It might be the sound setting. Let me tweak that a little bit for you. Hang on. If I just go back out, and sorry about that. Yeah, always let me know if there's things that that you want to have tweaked. Again, this is actually another thing with the game. Like the Stardock do a good job of adding in all sorts of little tweaks to all sorts of things to make the user experience so much more enhanced. If you don't like something, like there'll usually be some sort of setting you can change. They add a lot to this to make it so that you end up with the experience that you want through these different areas. And I got to say, as a gamer, I love the attention that they give this, the importance that they give it. It's actually something that very, very few companies do this, and particularly when you were talking about strategy gaming, to actually have all of the different sorts of things you can then sort of go and do, like particularly with the interface, there's the different sorts of stuff that does come up. So anyway, the music, I'll turn the music right down to about 10. So I'll leave it about there somewhere. So I'll leave that there. Yep, that's okay. So click on done. And so with what we've then got, if we go into the new game, there's the one that we just created, so it's now just sitting there in the list of ones we actually have. But you can see you can actually do all the different bits and pieces. Sorry, I'm just reading a few more of the comments there. This is a sponsored stream, guys, so I can't really sort of start talking too much about other games. People are talking about Stellaris there, so I'll skip over those. One thing I don't like is when you make a custom race, you have to add a bunch of names. I can hardly think of more than 4 at one time. Yeah, I know what you mean, yes, if you do create a custom race. So Diamond's saying, I learnt my lesson from GalCiv 3. I'll wait now a couple of years before getting them. Yeah, it's look. This is the game is still in flux to a small degree, but really it has been fleshed out, and the improvements that have come since the Steam release and up to the Steam release have been dramatic, and I can certainly see that the first year was remember it had a year, well, it had development up to Epic, another year and a bit actually developing ready for Steam, and then it's now had another year, and so to where we are now. So it's actually had a lot of percolation to sort of distill some really really good stuff in the game, and every sort of iteration of the game is now just tweaking things to make it sort of, again, they're focusing more on user experience now, which is good. Diamond saying, hope you're having fun, and chat dropped into like and wish you luck. Thank you for that one. But yeah, no, this is so much better than GalCiv 3. It's actually funny because this is one of these games that has actually gone back and borrowed more heavily from GalCiv 2 in its overall style and approach than from GalCiv 3 ultimately. So it's actually, and that's like I preferred GalCiv 2 as an experience when it came out over GalCiv 3. I liked GalCiv 3 as well, but GalCiv 4 really leaves them all for dead in that sort of sense, the previous games. Now, I'm thinking, let's just start with this one that we just created because we did spend some time creating it, but we don't have to. We could go down and play as the Nix, which is part of the new DLC. But I'm thinking if you're looking at the, if you're unsure about the base game, at least we can play with one of the factions from the base game. So Wiggly is saying, I see a small furry race in the list there, Daz. Why don't you pick them? I know how much you like them. Yeah, this is the Memots. It's sort of funny. This is worth talking about because I hate cutesy factions in games. I find them annoying. And in fact, in GalCiv 3, they had a faction called the Snaffy. The Snaffy actually do feature in the game, but not as a playable faction in here, I don't think. But the Snaffy were like a cute little group, but they were aggressive, and it just didn't mix. So the Memots evolved on a planet with 5 other species today. They're the only sentient species on their world. So these are these are again are fertile, so they grow fast. The proliferation, so this one here, they have less hit points on their ships. They have less intelligence, less diligence. So so when a ship is constructed, 2 ships are constructed instead, but all ships have minus 25% hit points. So they sort of like they're annoying expanders basically. So again, not my type of gameplay. Pacifism is their cultural focus. Believes in imposing wars, and then mammalian back and through here as well. So yes, it does cater for this, and to be honest, I don't mind this because that makes sense. If you know what I mean, like all of the stats there actually make sense, and it really does chop and change depending on what you're actually choosing. There's some really interesting iterations of like original species, like the Taurians. I used to never really like these in the original games, but I really like them in this one. They actually are, when you come across them in space, these are quite dangerous to come up against, which is interesting as well. So it's it is sort of funny. So where did we get up to? So anyway, they are sort of space hobbits, I guess, for me, the Memots. As I say, the Snaffy were around as well. These were ones that we created, I think, based on Snaffy. Yeah, so this is the Snaffy in through here. I made these because people wanted me to play as a Snaffy faction because I hated them so much in GalCiv 3, but I actually like them quite a lot. So this one here is a crime lord, paranoid. Again, it's the scope with those combinations of what you can play there with the abilities is absolutely dramatic. Anyway, let's go in and we'll start with the one that we just created. So we'll just go into this one through here, the Scorching Steel Eaters, and we'll just go next. And I'll show you the and this of course has now had a lot of attention to sort of build this one up. If you conquer the galaxy your way, you've got like difficulty levels in through there. I'll just keep these on what I've got them in through this other side, but you can sort of tweak the difficulties, encounters, minor races, hostile encounters, civilization proximity. And so I've set these to be so that all the civilizations are far apart. So you can sort of go anywhere from close, not too close, distant, and then far. I'll leave them on far. Maybe even distant would be enough in this one. So, because I think they've now worked a lot on making this a better system. it will give you recommendations based on what you do here, if your computer can handle it. And so the recommended system for what we've currently got is 8 gigabytes with 2 CPU cores. As I start to ramp that up, I think it will then start to, yeah, so this one, if I go to a Galaxy size of gigantic, it's now 32 gigabytes of memory and 8 cores is required. Number of sectors, if we go and ramp this one right up to many as well, it's still staying the same there. Star frequency, I'll just keep that on common. Occasional habitable planets, extreme planets occasional as well, and resources occasional. If I go and play this game with what we actually have, I'll just go next. And I'll just leave it to bring it in, but it can actually have up to 48 players in this instance. I've had some look, I think they may have tweaked this, but there was a time when you could play up to 96, so they may have changed the overall scale of what you can do in the game. But this one will then put in 31 of 48 players. Maybe it's because recommended number of players is 32. I think I may only have that number of players anyway that I've actually generated. So we've got all of those in there. So we've just got randoms all coming in. If I start the game, and I'll show you the overall scope of what the game actually does have in terms of what it does do. Now I've forgotten the cheat code for it. FOGNC, I think it is. I might have a quick look. I'll show you the cheat codes. Again, the game it sort of sets itself up to play it your way. And this is now, we're now going with sort of like the largest experience that you can have in the game. We're not going to play this. I just wanted to show you the scope. So you can sort of just see just how big and different this can actually be. I know some of you actually love playing on these monster sort of settings. This is going to take a little while. It's thinking, it's stalling, it's still coming along. There we go. This is the cutscene. I'll play the cutscene when we actually play the real game. And so this is Furnace Prime back in our system in through here. By the way, you can go back and edit your anything you build. You can go back and tweak it or copy it and do whatever you want to do. So there's the description we ended up having. So if you think, oh, geez, I really don't like that home world, like it's what we've got established there, you can go back and pick something different. So when we come out, this is actually what we see in our sector. So we've got our sector of space in through here, and so we've got a fair bit that we need to then go and explore right in around us. So you tend to be playing in at fairly comfortably at one level. So that's the now the old games that used to be essentially the game. It would be around about, that's what you end up having through there. Let me see if I press the tilde key, the curly hyphen in the top left of your keyboard, it then brings up the cheats. If you type in help, it will then give you the list of cheats. So use help command to see more information about each command. The one that we're looking for is FOWNC. So what that one does is, if I do help FOW, actually I'm not sure what the trans one is. So that's I'm not sure what that one is, but FOWNC is the one that we want. So if I just type in help FOWNC, it will then just give me a little bit of a rundown. So I can do it from a player index as well. So this command will toggle the fog of war on or off without displaying conversation pop-ups, which is what you don't want, is for everyone to meet you immediately, because otherwise, without the NC, they start talking to you. So if I just type in FOWNC, and we'll sort of see that the map has now changed a little bit. And so a fog of war has now been revealed. If I escape out of that one, we can now see everything. This will then just give you a bit of a feel for what the scope of the game has actually got. So this is, so in through here, we've got like different, we've got black holes in through this other side, different systems around, different planets, that have got different abilities. We've got different fleets as well. These are sort of like, these are shipyards, not so much pirates, but essentially very, very difficult groups that sort of look after regions of space. So they're sort of patrolling through there. There's a lot of them on this one here, actually. We've got heaps of them. do have another group over this other side. So we do actually have Divinia, which may just be a... now that is actually a playable faction. So they've actually spawned in the same thing. Then one thing we're not seeing is the actual linkages between them. That is just our sector. That is the galaxy. So, so that gives you an idea of the scope of what we're playing with. So we're playing in this one little sector in through here. We don't know. We have to then go and explore all of these ultimately to sort of see what we end up with. And so we're in like a small sector basically, and other players are starting off in other sectors in through this other side. If we go into the middle here, there'll be another connection back over here somewhere. And so if we have a look, there's two factions in here. I can just see by the coloured border in through this other side. This is a much larger. So in that case, we've got the Arnor are in there, and there's the is that them up there? Yeah, that's the Terrans. That's the humans. It's Earth and Sol. So we've got sort of like there's Jupiter. So we've got the so that's Earth in that particular system. So these are all connected with space lanes. And I forget the Fog of War Transparency says Drexy. I'm not sure actually. I think it puts me off GalCiv as a turn-based gameplay. It's different. It's a look. This again, when you play these sorts of games, the approach you go in with is actually with how you get the enjoyment back out of the game. With GalCiv, it's much more think of it as a board game that you're playing, in this case a monstrous board game. Some of these are actually on their own, like this one here. We've just got a single faction. There it is, way over there. Actually, there is actually an independent world back in that side, but this is the bubble on Prime. This is actually something that I think I created. Anyway, it's that's the scope of the actual game itself. That's at its sort of like at its absolute biggest, which of course we don't want to play. So we're just going to go back to the main menu. See how the colour has changed because of the faction that we play. Just go yes. So if we go into a new game, and if I go and change that again, so if I just go and grab this one and go next, and go to galaxy size tiny, and number of sectors singular, and leave all the other bits and pieces on, and then go and play the game. And it's 1 to 3 players. Recommended number of players is 2. If I just leave it on this one through here, so I'll just go random and just go start game. This will be a little bit faster to build. So you could be saying turn-based is what draws me to it, though I enjoy distant worlds type as well. I think plausible real-time I like almost as much. We won't do that one. And so I'll just do the same Fog of War again. So if we go, in this case, tilde key, FOWNC, not MC, NC. There we go, Fog of War revealed. And so this is the scope of this particular one that we're playing. So in this one, that's it. That's the galaxy, that's our sector, and so this is the smallest we can play. So we can play where we have like other sectors, we can play where we only have a single sector and then a smallish map. So we can do a lot through here. There's Hamster Prime. That is, I think, that group we're looking at, the Pirates. So the actual group that we were looking at there before. So that's, and we've got another independent world in the middle there. So that's the smallest. If we go, I'll just do one more. Just go back to the main menu and show the new game again. Just choose these. So and if we go to the galaxy size tiny, I can do galaxy size medium with sorry, this is number of sectors. If I go to a gigantic galaxy with a number of sectors only being singular, I might just do a couple of these. This one's showing 32 players. I'll just start the game. So you have a lot of scope on how you want to play the game, like a hell of a lot. So it'll take a little bit of time again just to build up all of the different things. So Sci-Fi Snob is saying this is how Space 4X games should be organised by sectors. 2,000 systems in a galaxy. Talk about reducing immersion. Yes. Look, the immersion factor I'll show you that cutscene when we actually do start playing. So this one here, if I just do again, just do that same FOW NC. If I don't put the NC on the back end of it, every single faction will then talk to me straight away, and I'll end up spending like an hour just answering messages essentially through the system. So if we have a look at this one here, this is our galaxy now playing it without sectors. So we have no sectors. Everyone is actually inside one massive area, a bit more like the old original game. So again, you've got this massive way of playing the game. So you can play it. You can sort of tweak all sorts of different things in the settings to get the experience that you actually do look for. You know, like it's very cool the way you've got such freedom to manipulate this and maneuver. Just go to new game. I'll just try one more setting just so you can sort of see other tweaking. If we go to tiny galaxy size, but the number of sectors being sort of like binary or something like this, which will give us 2 sectors to then have a play with. This is sort of thing will then give us like a little area, and this may be what we end up playing with. I'll just have a quick look and see what this one does. This one is 1 to 3 players, recommended players 2. If I just go back again, if I go to small binary, I'll just go next. So it's saying recommended number of players 4, so I could throw in another random if I wanted to, or I can set up an actual gameplay of you know who I'm going to go up against. But this one here, if I just go this way, start the game. So we end up with we end up with something that's a little bit more intimate. If you sort of play with it, like depending on how you want the galaxy set up, you've really got so much scope with the way it does work. Tiny may still actually work fairly well, like for our gameplay. You know, tiny with a couple of sectors. So just let it build this galaxy. And press escape and tilde. By the way, you do need to set up your Steam account to be able to do the cheats. So if you are looking to experiment yourself, I do recommend doing it that way, to be honest, to just see what you're going to end up getting. So in this case, oh, hang on, that's too big. That's way too big. It's a, hang on, I didn't go gigantic again, did I? Got the 2 sectors. Yeah, no, that's way too big. Let me go back. Let's go back to main menu. Did it keep the other setting? Go next. Small and binary, that shouldn't have been that size. Go to tiny again, just go next. Throw another one in there. Start the game. It may have, because I've been building so many of them, it may have got a setting caught. It should only be a smallish area that we end up playing in. I might have to oops, hang on, I'll just do tilde, WNC. You can also do things like where you end up getting all of the text or the different text for moving around. Yeah, that's not, actually, I guess it's not that big. I mean, I guess I'm just used to seeing larger things, but as a tiny one, that actually that's not terrible. There's probably just too many stars in it at this point in time. And then there will be a connection between these two. So that is the galaxy that we'd end up playing. I'm actually happy to play something like this, I think, with maybe with a total of four players, like 2 per sector. Be fairly sort of fairly tight with what we sort of have in through there. There seems to be a few too many stars, though, to be honest, with what we're looking at through here. So I'll probably cut down the number of stars. Again, you can sort of just go and tweak those things. So let's go and I'll exit the game, and I'll just quickly show you the again, if you've Steam sale, guys, grab the game now. It's 50% off, plus the DLCs are 20% off, a lot of them. If I go across to Steam and go to the library and go to GalCiv. So if you are wanting to sort of do that, just go into your Steam settings in through here. If I go into properties, I think it's in properties. Or is it something different? Updates. I forget how to actually do it. You can put a code in, which does help, and I forget exactly where it actually is. It's not those. It's going to make a liar out of me. Manage. No, that's not it. It's properties. It has to be properties. I'm not sure where it goes, actually. I thought it was under here. I should have checked this before I did it. Properties. It's funny, I thought it was in here. Oh, there it is. Sorry, yeah, under General. Launch options. Advanced users may choose to enter modifications to their launch options. Type the word cheat in. That will then allow you to use the tilde key to cheat. But it is good to sort of at least be able to look at what you've got the setup is before you go into the game, particularly because they've been doing so much work on the actual game itself, like with Galaxy setups. You can then at least have a look and say, yeah, that's the style of game I want, and then you can restart and not cheat if you wanted to. But if you type the word cheat in, it does allow you to then use the tilde key. Right, let's get back into it. I've got about an hour before I've got to get going, so we'll start to play the game. We're only, what, 2 hours in? Yeah, I think it's worth looking at what the scope of the game is, because it's just so impressive. I know that next, like in 2 days' time, I'll come back and do another stream where we just all we do is gameplay, but we just get started today. So we'll just go and play. I think there's a lot to cover. So with particularly when you, I always try to think of it if I was. If I was on the fence about the game, or if I didn't really know much about it, what would I need to know to make it so that I could make a decision about getting it? And it's not just gameplay; it's all the other bits and pieces that sort of add to that, I think. Hi Dom UK, how you going? So Jimmy Alex saying it's a hell of a game. All of my one of my all-time favourites for sure. It just keeps on getting better. Yeah, it is a great game. So Stephanie McAllis saying, do you play humans on a huge map? Oh, so there we go. Jim is saying, I enjoy camping and blocking one's galaxy access to and from the other. Yes, yeah, the general cheat at the bottom there. I did miss that one. Let's quit out of that one. So we'll just go across into new game. I will tweak that again because I think that tiny is the one that I want to play. So I'll keep it tiny binary. Also, we'll keep it binary in through there. The star frequency was common. Let's actually just make it occasional. So this will be the thing that will then tweak what we saw in through there. Habitable planets I'll keep occasional as well. Extreme planets I'll keep that one. I'll keep it occasional, and resources occasional as well. So if we go to next, and we'll just do another cheat. So we've got 2 to 3 other players. I will actually add in, I'll make a fairly congested galaxy. So I'll just fill it up. And I can change these as well on an individual basis. I can actually bring in a specific faction or a random faction and then tweak what they've... sorry, no, if I click on that one, it's different. Sorry, it is coming in through the difficulty setting. It's not so much in through there. This is teams. You can actually end up with team games as well. Team games can be a good way to learn games as well, by the way. So, but I won't do that here. I'm just going to start the game. And so initially, I really just want to use that cheat to see is this a viable game for me to play, like in terms of the setups. Actually, that's a good tab. The tip, the factions tab is in the leader. Yeah. Other factions go to war vote, yeah, blah blah blah. We don't need to do that. Anyway, let's continue on. So exit tilde FOWNC, and so this is mainly just a sort of, is this going to be viable for us? No, what's happened there? That's not binary. It's massive. Something has gone awry here. Let's go back to the main menu. That is not what we ordered. Go to new game. Next. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? There's nothing in advanced settings, I don't think. You can sort of change those things. That's not going to change what we're seeing. Let's just try with tiny again, singular. Just see if we can get it down to what we had. is right. That is correct. Okay, so that's what we would expect. So if we put a binary system in, there should be a tiny little one like this next to us. So let's just give that a go. I don't know why it did the other one, but that one is right. So we'll just go into new game. Maybe there's a bug in it. Number of sectors. So this is the number of sectors that Galaxy is divided into. So tiny, binary, next. I did fill this one up. It did stutter at one point, and like last time. Let's just start the game again. See if this one works. Yes, still in nurseries have been tricksy, says Stephanie. Okay, let's just give this one a go. Just click on done. Oops, tilde FOWNC. Please work this time. There we are. Right, that's what we want. This, I think, will give us a reasonable game. So this is now exactly what I'm looking for. There will be some sort of connection over here. If we play this particular one, I think I will just play with randoms. Maybe we'll play with some of the originals and just see how we actually end up going. So let's just go back into the main menu. Now that we've actually got our setup, do you want me to play? Actually, God, I'm now thinking I'll go small. You know, I'll just do one more. I normally do this sort of stuff before I start recording, just to sort of really tweak things. If I go to small, is this going to screw it all back up again? This one will give me 2 and 2 still in the binary sectors. Start the game. Please work. Please just be a little bit bigger than the other ones. So if we FOWNC, but this is a good way of just seeing what the scope is that you're going to be playing with. That I'm happy with, actually. That I'm happy with. It gives me expansion, gives me something to do inside the actual sector, and then we've got the connection back across the other side. That actually looks pretty good. All right, let's go into main menu, and now we'll start our actual game. So here we go. So new game. Now, guys, do you want me to play as the Scorching Steel Eaters? Do you want to see something different? Please let me know, and I will show it. The one thing we do actually also have that's a little bit different is we do actually have the Nix, which has come through with the latest DLC, which plays uniquely. I will move my head while we're doing this. Actually, just bear with me. Just move down to the bottom here somewhere. I think that was fairly safe around here. All right, so I'll just lock that one in. So, or we can play as someone else. Like we can, I've got other factions that I've created over time, just trying different things out. So we've got the Nix, which are progressivism. These are not going to be as aggressive as the ones that we just created. So we've got the ravenous cybernetic scorching steel eaters that we created, or the Nix, which is going to be the original Nix series of yore that were handmade by the Arconians. So this is like a different group that has got completely their own tech tree. So they've got a unique tech tree. But let me know if you want to see anything. Otherwise, I will just go back and play a standard faction, I think, at this stage. So I'll choose this one for now. I'm not seeing any. No one's actually saying, yeah, I would like to see this or would like to see that. I'm sort of at your beck and call with this stuff, to be honest, because again, my main reason for doing this is if you guys are trying to make a decision about something with the game and want to see something in particular, I'll do my best to be able to show it and explain it. But looks like no one's really got any burning desire to see one thing or another. So let's just go with the standard game version, rather than the sort of enhanced version with the DLC. So we'll go next. We'll keep our settings because we like those, and I'll keep the 4 players in this as well. So we'll just start our game. And random. Do we want to go random? Probably not, actually. So let's bring in some interesting factions. So I've got the custom ones down the bottom there. we've got to have the Drengen in, don't we? So bring the Drengen Empire in. Let's bring the Altarians in, who are empaths. And I won't put any other cybernetics in. I'll just keep the original sort of factions in here. There's the Iconian Refuge. Corporate sector is interesting. Drath. The Terran Resistance. Let's go with them. That's sort of like a an unrelenting sort of human group. So they're split from the humans. So we'll go that way there. So that will be the group that we go up against, I think. I don't know if you can filter these to only sort of allow the core factions. That would be a nice little filter actually to have on this screen, rather than just have randoms coming in, or even to be able to see random humanoids, things like that would be good. Anyway, let's just go. I don't think if we click on random, we're not going to be able to. Yeah, we can't change anything else there. So that's okay. Let's just start with these. So we'll start our game. I sort of wanted to make sure we didn't have any other robots in the game with us. So this cutscene is a beautiful cutscene. I don't know if you can hear I've now made it too soft to sort of hear it. So this is a human colony ship that we're sort of seeing through here. It sort of, the thing I like about this, it sort of gives you a feeling of scale that you don't really get when you play the game, and so it sort of, for me, sort of bridges a bit of a mental gap, between the scale that you sort of then get to see and experience. So that's the colony ship. In the game, they seem so tiny, but with this presentation, it's like, oh wow, this is we're talking about big stuff here. But what a beautiful cutscene. The music is playing, but softly. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. So that's just I love that cutscene just for that aspect where we go from sort of that almost real type immersion into board game gameplay, which is what we now have. So we've got our actual faction through there. I'll go through and spend most of this session just going through how the game is played, and then in 2 days' time we'll go through and actually play we'll just play basically. In this case, we end up with a few different things that we do need to go and do. The first thing we have to go down is set up our research. So we have our research that we need to do. We have a lot of different things we can do and tweak at the start of the game as well. So in the first turn, there's some little settings that we can do that actually will enhance, just will push us forward a little bit. So I'll try to go through those little tips as well as we sort of get there. Korosami is saying, I wish there was a way to get that feeling with the actual gameplay. Yes, you're right. You're right. It's sort of, you don't get it in this one. Like, you can zoom in, but you are looking at a game that it does look beautiful. Like, the game really does look very, very good. Like, there's one of our colony ships, for example. So the scope of this colony ship is nothing at all like what we're seeing, in that cutscene. But so we are in this small sector in through here. We don't know who else is in here yet. There will be another faction. There's a lot of stars in here, actually, a lot more than what I'm comfortable with, to be honest. But anyway, we'll see how we go. This is the range that we can then send our ships at this point in time. So we only have a smallish range. Is this too big? God, I don't know. It's don't know. That's a lot of stars. Look, let's just play it anyway. Let's just play it and see how we go. I'm actually really worried about how much this is. It's not... I'm going to start again. Sorry, guys. Sorry, main menu. I'll use the same settings again and just see if we end up with something smaller. I just know that if I end up with that, we're not going to be doing much. If all I'm doing is moving around between stars. So we'll just go next again, just see how this one actually does work. By the way, there is actually, with Stardock games, you can just go Control N. I should have just done that and just seen what that gives me. You've got to, I forget how many turns you've got to use Control N to start a new game. So if you sort of get in and think, I don't like this start, I'll just start again, you can tend to do that one. Just go back and have another look. Damn it, we're back here again. Why is the game doing this? Why is it doing this? This is not what we wanted. Main menu. Why is it doing this? That doesn't seem right. Try another one. I should have done a Control N. I'm looking for a pretty tight game. I think I must have a bug in it. I don't think I've got anything unusual running with it. So I better report this, because this, I know that they were looking at changing these sorts of things. That is better, and that is better. Okay, I'm happy with this. Am I happy with that one? Yeah, I'm happy with that one. All right, so that's actually fine. Hi, Michael, how are you going? So, with what we actually have here, when you first come in, you will actually have things you have to do. For example, like research. I don't have to go and do it, but if I go and click on it, we then get taken to the research tab. What you'll see through here is we need to assign a technology minister to unlock a special, like this last one here. So we need a technology minister. So you're better off doing that before you come in to do your first tech. So I don't have to choose this. I can always come back at this turn and go back and re-evaluate it. What these are is they'll give you selections that are 50% research bonuses, so you can sort of quickly go through your research this way. The other thing with this is you've got, like, these are the additional candidates. These are what you can research. This will become quite large over time. And what the research bonus does is it gives you a small fraction of the time you would normally take to build one of these. So so the universal translator is, we can do that one in eight months to go and get this one. It would normally be 19 months, so we sort of get that one halved. Actually, that doesn't look right either. Yeah, but anyway, that's the that's the amount of research it does take. So we've got the yeah, so 8 months to sort of go and get that one there, 14 months to go and get defensive studies if we did want that one through that other side. If I go to the Tech Navigator, this will then show me all of the different technology. And this is, I think, if you are new to the game, you do want to have a look at this and start to plan a little bit ahead, just to sort of figure out, okay, what do I need in the game? Where am I heading with stuff? And what you'll find is that depending on what you choose, you will quite often get a unique things in the tech tree. So look for those as well, because they can give you a bit of an advantage. So for example, being cybernetic, we may end up with some cybernetic tech. So I can't remember exactly what we do get with that one. So this is split between different technology trees. We've got an engineering tree, a science tree, weapons tree, defense tree, logistics, and governance. Now this has only recently been split out. It was only 3 techs originally, so they've actually sort of made this one now much more, I guess, approachable in certain ways. And you'll see different icons down the bottom here that sort of tell you what you're going to be able to pick up with each of the actual, like, you know, if we unlock this one here. So it helps us begin communicating with aliens and to use a galactic bazaar, and then we end up with all of these different bonuses that we end up getting by grabbing that one through there. But just have a bit of a look through to see if there's something you want in particular. You may sort of find out where it actually is, and think, okay, look, I really need to go and get machine councils, for example. So makes available more ministers and unlocks new ships for our commanders. So now I'm not sure if that is actually, that does seem like a cybernetic thing, doesn't it? Just for Justice position back and through there. Not sure, but it may just be that may be there for everything. I'm not sure with it, how that one actually does work. But yes, get a bit of a feel for something you aim for. Now, quite often it'll be under either logistics or, in fact, I haven't really had a good look at this since it's all been done. There we go, battle cruisers back and through here. 67 research to go and grab that one through that other side. Planetary invasions are back down this way. That's, you know, so if we went down this side, this is under logistics. So what they've done through here is they've split out the hulls essentially. So we've got the battleships, dreadnoughts, carriers is the back end of this whole one, back and through here. So these are the this is a tech tree just from logistics. If we go back to weapons, we're then going to see this then get split off into different areas of energy weapons, railguns, missile systems, and then experimental weapons down through here, and then they have their own paths running through as well. So there's a lot of work's been done in this to make this one even more substantial. There's an awful lot, like doom rays. There's all sorts of things in through here, but quite often you'll end up having something that you need. Now, it looks like this is going to be getting even more attention in the coming months as version 3.0 starts to take hold, where they look to try to make the rock paper scissors aspect, which was the energy, the kinetic, and then the missile type weaponry. These also still have a big bearing in the actual game itself, but these are the three different classifications, I guess, of weaponry that you have. In GalCiv 2, these were like rock, paper, scissors, and so these had, in defences, they had their own defensive type theory. In this one, we don't actually have that. We've only got two. There used to be like three different ways to defend against those three different attack types. For us, we have armor and shielding. It's pretty much how this one then gets split off, and then we have those different things that run off in their own tech tree. So this will give you a bit of a feel for the actual tech tree in the game itself. If I just go back in, so we'll see, for example, we've got space doctrine, asteroid swarming, weaponized probes, galactic expansion. And if I go back into that tech navigator, we're going to see universal translator is there. We've got logistics, space doctrine is the next one. This unlocks the frigate, for example. Defensive studies. So these are the ones that we're sort of seeing through there, because we haven't been able to get yet out enough to open these up yet. So by having a bit of a feel for this, it can really be very, very helpful. Just to sort of get a feel for what's going on in the game. You don't need to go beyond this screen, because quite often you'll just make decisions here. But if you need something in particular, like if we needed planetary invasion, then at least we know what we need to go and look for. So we need to be looking at space doctrine, which will then lead on to orbital bombardment, which would then lead on to other things, would then eventually give us planetary invasion. So at least having a plan will help a little bit. You also have a technology library. And so what this one does is it then just basically gives you different filters. So you can sort of have a look to there, like this, the different conquest text. So you can sort of filter different things in through this other side as well. This is filtered by research cost, sort of alphabetically. So you can do different things in here as well. Again, the user experience is heightened with the way that the game is put together. It tries to make it so that if you're looking for something, you'll find it, and you'll be able to use it as a tool to do something. You also have a search facility, so you can sort of start to search for things up through here as well with the technology. Anyway, it will automatically now, even if I go done, it's going to then now choose Universal Translator, but we'll come back and look at that one. Then the next thing it wants me to have a look at is the idle ships and start to go through there. But we can do some other things with that one. If we have a look and see, we needed a technology minister, and so we have different screens we can go to with the game itself down the bottom here. And so what we end up having is civilization. We can't go to that one just yet. Leaders we can't go to. This one requires the Colonial Leadership Council project. So we can't put a technology minister in place until we actually have the Colonial Leadership Council project. So what is that? That's actually on your planet. So if we go to the actual planet itself and double click, we then get to the actual surface of the planet. And we've got a build queue down through here, where the first build queue is the Colonial Leadership Council. This is the one that we actually look for. So the game always starts off with this one. It's going to take one turn to go and grab that one. You can just go and rush this though, and get it immediately. So we're going to do exactly that. So we're on this little barren world. We've got different things. We'll talk about planet, what we can do through here. Let's just go and rush that one there. It's going to cost me 23 credits. And so, so hardly anything. So we now actually have that council. If I click on done, I'll come back to this and have a bit of a look at this one. But if I click on done, I now have this one unlocked. So the leaders are now unlocked, so I can have a look at it. Now, the reason I think it's there is so that you get a feel for the game on turn 1 or turn 0, and then the next turn you can start to play with leaders. But if you wanted to play with leaders straight away, which we do, we then want to grab this one, because we do want a technology minister. So if we go and click on leaders, we then come back in, and so these are our various leaders that we actually have. Now we've got we've got one leader which we can assign, so curates a museum. I think this is one that this one that we actually have in our library, and we can see through here this one is very, very intelligent at 12. So we've got a 5 intelligence, and through here we've got an 11 and we've got a 5. But this guy here is really, really intelligent at 12. If we have this is actually our recruitment for these guys. Our ministers, we have a minister of exploration and we have a minister of technology. If I go and I'm actually happy with this one as a minister of technology without even looking at anything, I can always reshuffle these. I can just go and drag this card out and pop him in there. And so he's now a minister of technology. Let's just click on done. I'll come back and talk about this again in a little bit of time. But if we do that one, and then we go back to the research, you'll see that first of all our research is now stronger because of that minister. We're actually now getting more research. We've actually shaved off one space, and we now actually have the next level in through here. Now, another thing with the technology, just as we're doing a bit of a deep dive into this one, what you'll see is you've got different advisors that, not so much the leaders as such, but the advisors are there just to give you tips as to what you may look for. And so what we can see through here is your research advisor recommends we research this. Our economic advisor recommends that we research the universal translator. Now, I'm going to go and get the universal translator, I think, even though it was there from before. But this one has now taken one of those slots and put it into there, so I can get this one in half the time. Asteroid swarming allows us to start building asteroid mines that boost the world's manufacturing. This we don't have to get immediately. The trouble with this is that when we actually do this, these then get reset for the next one, and you may not get exactly what you're wanting. But the universal translator is a good one to get, even though we're going to be playing fairly aggressively. So we will go that way. It's going to be 7 months remaining on that one through there. We'll just go and click on done. So that little setup of going to your home world, building that particular, or rushing that building, going into your leaders, and just checking to see, you may have to go and get another one if you do need it, and then putting it into in the ministers will then give you, like, in the bonus. Now this is an important one, because what we end up getting is whatever this number is, this intelligence number, will actually be the research bonus that we get. Now we get +1 slot, which we saw there, but we do also get this percentage. So it's only an extra few percentage points, but it can make a difference over time. So the higher your research, the faster you learn new techs. Research is provided by your world's natural resources and boosted by research improvements and scientists. So again, the tooltips are very, very good in the game. Sorry for that. Just saying hi all. Been a long time since I was able to get on this early. We've been streaming for a while actually. But we're only just getting started. So the research costs of some of the later techs seems low. They changed that. It's I'm not sure actually. I know that they've been balancing and retweaking things a lot. So Cole is saying, hey Daz, I'm playing Distant Worlds 2 right now. How does GalCiv 4 compare? That's a good question. And look, this is a sponsored stream for GalCiv, so I can't really talk much about other games, but I'll be consistent with what I say about the two games, because I tend to use both of them as comparisons with each other. Distant Worlds is a simulation game at its heart, and so you don't play it in a gamey way. You play Distant Worlds in a simulation way, like you sort of are playing with logistics and things like that. GalCiv is a board game style game, so it's actually very, very different. It's much more approachable. The user experience and user interface is much better in that sort of sense, in terms of it's easier to get into for GalCiv. But it's a different gaming experience. They are completely different games. So if you go into one or the other expecting the same experience, you'll be disappointed in whichever way you are thinking, if you know what I mean. So it's sort of one of those things. I think it's important to establish the fact that this is think of this as a board game that you are playing, and it is gaming in that sense. It's still immersive, but it is gaming. It's just different. So that's the difference there really between the two. But I think that is a Yeah, Michael's saying that question always comes up. I think it's a good question, and it's one that I really don't mind answering as many times as people ask it, because the important thing when you play any of these games is to have your head in the right mindset to actually play the game. If you come into GalCiv expecting to play like a resource, collection, trying to sort of manage, sort of the logistics and supply chains, you're not going to enjoy it. Or if you come into GalCiv and think I've got to play slowly and expand as slowly as I possibly can to make sure that things don't escape from me, you're going to be not playing it correctly. So GalCiv is a board game style that you do need to expand quickly, like Stellaris in that sense, but Stellaris is also like a board game sort of style game. So you are playing it more as a game, and you get into the action faster because of that. So very different types of games. So Michael's saying maybe the research costs seem so low because I play on slow research progress. Maybe. So anyway, very different games, very different play styles between the two games. Both great games, by the way, Distant Worlds and GalCiv. But you are playing. You sort of tend to be into the action faster in GalCiv. Not if you're watching my streams. Well, it's been 2 hours and we still haven't really ended the first turn yet. But typically, if you're once you start playing the game, you'll be in and out into the games very, very quickly, and you'll get familiar with it very, very fast. So it's and again, the game is beautifully done with its user experience. Other things we actually have in leaders, so while we do these sort of deep dives, we have governors of the worlds that we create. Now the Ember Prime Dominator, or whatever the name that we've actually got for our actual main leader, is here. This will always be very, very good at most things, and will look after your home world, and you can't change it from that. It's your home world leader is the leader of your faction. Diplomats. We don't have any there, no alien civilizations known. Sometimes this will be important, sometimes it won't. Commanders allow us to go and get those special ships that we were looking at, but we need to get technology to unlock these. And then we have actual little factions in the game as well, which we can assign leaders to as well. So this is all the different leadership that we have. We can recruit. Now the one that is actually open to us is the Minister of Exploration. So this one manages our travel to the edge of the galaxy, increases our moves and range based on the diligence of the assigned minister. Let's have a look at our recruitment. We've got basically 1,500 to spend. So the way it works is we've got sort of like intelligence, social skills, and being robots, we're not going to have very high social skills. We've got diligence back and through here. This is the one that we're actually aiming for. So diligence modifies a leader's skill at production related tasks. High diligence is important for commanders and governors of manufacturing-based worlds. For citizens, diligence is important for workers and farmers. So all the citizens will also have this as well, these aspects. And then finally we have resolve. These are more for battle type things. So we do actually have a 7 in here, like for the diligence. He's actually pretty good all the way around. He's also quite loyal. So loyalty is not a big factor in choosing like a commander, but it can be a little bit of one. At 72, he will remain loyal. Others that you can sort of see, these ones have got, like this one is an aspiring scientist. So he's got +2 tech and -4 loyalty. So he's terrible actually with his technology. So he gets his intelligence, he's got a base value of 3, you're +2. +2 tech there as well. +3 control per turn. Increases awareness of totalitarianism. That would actually give us extra control. Control is... where is that shown? Culture points. It was up the top here somewhere. No, it's not up there. No, I can't see it there. Anyway, control, that would be a little bit of a bonus we would get for if we did bring this one in, but I won't worry about that one. This one here is raised in Life of Luxury, +3 wealth and -10% approval when appointed as a governor. So this one is not, you don't have to be appointed as a governor, do you? Yeah, I think that's just authoritarian. I think just having him in the list, but he's not very good. His skill set is pretty low. This one is also pretty low. This one's actually reasonable. Also not too expensive. This one is costing a fair bit of money as well. So I'll just go into this other side here. Just going to drag that one across. Go back to the ministers. I don't have to do this. What this will then go and do is, if I just click on done for an example and just zoom out so we can sort of see the borders. Actually, where is our border? If I go and grab the one of the ships, if I go and grab the colony ship, that's the limit of our colony ship at the moment. So that's as far as it can travel. So not very far. It's pretty crappy. If we go back to our leaders and go back to ministers, this one's got a resolve of 7. Pop that one in there. We end up with 1 extra movement point for ships. It won't take place this turn. But the ship range is now +7 as well because of his diligence. So distance non-probe ships can travel away from our planets and star bases. And so in this case, we now have a little bit further out that we can go with that ship. So it was back in here, and now we can see a little bit further out from what it can do. So hopefully we find another planet that we can settle in that region. That will then sort of expand our borders out even further. Okay, so where are we up to? So we've got Michael's saying both the games can be played on many different ways, though. I have come to love the hard start in GalCiv 4, whereas my first 10 or 20 games I hated it. Michael's saying, so no more restart for me if it ain't lots of good planets near the home world. I tend to restart, to be honest. I'll be honest with you, if I'm doing an actual pre-recorded series and I get to, say, turn 10 and I haven't found a viable second planet at that stage, I abandon that recording and go into a new recording. Start again. I do simply because I need to try to make sure that there's things that will happen in the actual game itself. Yeah, Michael's saying a slow game may not be that good though for streaming. Exactly. Yeah, that's the trouble I have. Now, when it said there about the distance we've got, so I've got a distance there of where the colony ship can go. If we go to our prospector, our flagship, it's a little bit further. It can go and see a little bit further. It's got some bonuses. So that one has got bonuses that it can go and do. And we've also got a probe in through here. These are not limited. They can go anywhere they like. And so with a probe, we can just let them do whatever they want to go there. So, somebody's saying, I can't believe it, you shocked me, Daz. Yes. No, it's just one of those things. It's sort of, I do that with a lot of games, actually, where I think, it's not going to be, I'm going to get stuck here, you know. So sometimes it's great to play games where you do have hard starts with things, and can be fun to sort of get out of situations. I know I used to do that with Distant Worlds back in Distant Worlds 1. Would end up just on one planet for like half the game, but it isn't good fun to watch. It's fun to play. Anyway, the probe can go anywhere we like, and so the probe gives us a range around that we can see. Our first objective really is to find planets that we can settle. Now we know that we can reach these 2 planets here. We have different classes of planets. So in this case, we've got like this one will be a yellow star. This one here, I don't know if we can see. Furnace Prime is a yellow star, and through here, once we've actually sort of gone and checked out a planet, it'll then show us what's viable in this one. So we've got our core world, and through this other side, which is a class 29 barren world, and we also then have a class 3 poor terrestrial world in through there. What's of interest to us, though, is that when we hover over Furnace Prime 3, even though it's a poor world in terms of its class, it actually has a whole lot of other bonuses. You can see there it's got like two production, 2 science, and 3 of the 6 of the minerals. It's not minerals. It's richness. I forget what it's actually called there. Sorry, if I press Shift. Wealth. That's the word. So we've got wealth in there as a measure of the planet's rare and valuable resources. We've got the technology as a rare natural resource that reflects the unusual and most interesting aspect of the planet. And we also have minerals are a measure. So what this does is, and this is where it's changed a lot if you've played the old versions of the game, is that we end up on Furnace Prime. If I go in and actually have a look at the Furnace Prime itself, if I just double click it and we have a look to see what it actually does do, those get translated across. So the planetary input that we have is the same thing we saw there before. We've got 3 mineral input. We've got 2 technology input, and we have 12 wealth input on our world. We also have farming input in case we need to feed anyone, which we don't. We don't need that. And then we've also got influence as well, cultural input. So these are the base inputs that come into the actual planet itself. The planetary output is then tweaked by these, along with anything we build on the actual planet itself. We've got, at the moment, we've got the Bernal sphere back in through here, which is actually that is something so we've got that one. We can study with that one. Actually, it's not really anything we have. We are going to have to sort of set up different things. Got different buildings we can bring in. We also have different districts we can sort of go and add into the actual planet itself as well. We'll have a look at that in just a minute. But this is then tweaked by what we end up having. So we've got, you can see the manufacturing there is 3.28. And so it's worth just seeing how this is all laid out. The approval we have is 96% with our governor. The manufacturing that we have, we've got the mineral input of 3, and we have a manufacturing. The governor is then giving us a plus 14%, and so that with the governor then has his abilities of where's the 14 diligence. See the diligence there of 14. That then is applied to the manufacturing, which then gives us a total manufacturing of 3.42. The approval then takes it down slightly to 3.28. And so we then see like essentially a 3.3 being done there. And research the same thing. If we have a look at our research ability through this other side, we've got an intelligence of 12. Research will then have a... we've got the approval in through there again, but the research, we've got the technology input of +2, clever at plus 10%, minister plus 12%, the governor another 12%, and it looks like we've got scientists as well that are actually working on the planet. We've got 2 of them that are actually on the planet as well, which then gives us an output here of 2.8. So you can see how important these planetary outputs actually are. Yeah, so we can see there's our 2 scientists. This one here has got an intelligence of 5. That one's also a 5. Some of these may be better. That's a 4. 4 intelligence, 4 intelligence. Yeah, so these are the best 2 that are there. We do have, we do actually have a transport, so we can actually move them out onto the actual, to the other location if we wanted to. So we can actually transport them away from the world. So we've sort of got like an aspect of doing that with our citizens. The citizens are quite important, that we sort of, that we actually develop them. Now, playing as cybernetics, we actually don't use, normally civilians just grow. They have like a growth thing, but we have to make them. So Emperor's saying the hive is hungry but content. There we are. So we're playing as an aggressive group. But there's a lot on the actual planets themselves. But anyway, that's the manufacturing. We're mainly sort of looking at what we're going to do with this first colony ship. If we take this little world here, we end up getting all of this stuff boosted back into our home world. And I think in this instance, that's worth doing. It's going to give us a big boost to our monthly income. So just simply because the planet itself, again, is going to start to, we can sort of see it through there, the wealth input, Furnace Prime. Its output is 4.8. The input is 12. So we'll get another 18. So there'll be 18 essentially. So I can just grab this colony ship, which has got a colonist on board. It's got a citizen in through here, which is this one's got good intelligence as well. Synthetic life. As a synthetic species, yours don't require food or have any natural growth. Instead, their citizens are manufactured. They also don't suffer any approval penalties from pollution, overcrowding, or reaching their population capacity. So they're easy-ish to control like that. We just have to build them. So if I go to there, colonize a planet, Furnace Prime 3, yes. So for establishment of the colony, we've taken our first steps in the galaxy. Our colonists represent everything which makes our people great, and with that, they'll have every chance of thriving on this alien world. So the thing I wanted to show through here is that this is actually a core world. You see it's sort of listed there, core world. This one here is a colony. This is not a core world. So what this one does is it feeds wherever it's closest to. So it's going to feed this income will now go back into Furnace Prime. Now the reason I decided to settle this one is because these numbers were fairly good, and for Furnace Prime 3. So that's pretty cool the way that one sort of does work. If we go back now and have a look at this one through here, our income has now gone up a little bit. We've now got nearly 6 income. Manufacturing has gone up to 5. Our research has gone up to 5 as well. So we're now doing better than what we were before. It's still 7 months to get the universal translator, so it didn't do enough to sort of really impact that one. But these little worlds are now quite valuable depending on what they provide back to your home world. We don't need, like this one didn't have any food or cultural influence, but it's still sort of viable. Other things we can do with these worlds, we do actually have slots, orbital improvements. We don't have anything we can build for those. We may have something we can build here. No, we don't have anything we can build with those just yet either. So we'll have to research those to go and get what we require. So that's actually now feeding back into this particular location. If I go to, so sending resources to Furnace Prime is what it's actually doing in through there. I don't think I can change where it actually goes, but anyway, that's in that instance, I think it's more viable than looking at like trying to sort of get what we need from there. Let's just see if it's still going to be worth going out and getting another colony ship. So we'll just move this one across. We just need to get close-ish to the actual planets. This is an orbit, so there'll be something probably over here, I would guess. I'll just right-click on that one so it doesn't go any further. You can see the orbits that get shown around. In this case, we've got like a number of orbits on that particular, a number of planets on that particular orbit. So it just gives you clues as to what you can find. There is actually just one asteroid that we have around here, so the asteroid mining is not really all that important to us. The other things we then have, the last ship we have is this prospector ship, the flagship. It can do different things. We can use it for also for searching as well, like for sort of trying to figure out what's around us. We've got different attacks. Back in through there, we've got the standby, we've got sentry, but we've got survey. This will go and attempt to find anomalies, and it'll find these little sorts of anomalies in through here. There's a capsule there, for example, and so I'm just going to tell it to go off and do that. So just go off and do auto survey. So it will just do its own thing for a portion of the game. It's going to take 4 months for it to go and search that one out. So that's all being done. Next thing we have is we've got an idle shipyard. So we've got a shipyard that we start with that's connected to the other location, and you can see again this one connects back to that world. If I click on that world, we've got a connection going back to the shipyard. And so the shipyard is actually idle, and we can build certain things with this one through here. Chris is saying, I love the core world colony mechanic, less micromanaging. Yes. Again, so much work has been done in this game to enhance the stuff that's fun and to sort of knock back the micromanagement stuff. And so by having these colonies, we don't have to manage those. They just basically just do what they do, and we just get the minerals from there. So it becomes like a mining resource, a bit like asteroids in that sort of sense. But it does require a colony ship. It does require a citizen to be there. So what we want to build in through here is we don't know if we want to have a colony ship at this stage. If I double click that, or if I click on this one here, we'll be then taken to what we actually have. Now, these are the actual ships we can currently build. We can go and research a ship, but I won't do that one just yet. We don't have anything really doing it. The settler ship, and you can see through there, this is the cultural advisor recommends building this design. It's going to take 14 turns to go and build this one. The science guy wants us to go and grab another probe so we can keep on exploring, and the constructor here is going to cost 22. If we need to expand our borders, we can do that with constructors. So the constructor will then try to find special resources. For me, it really is a toss-up at this stage between the settler and the probe. I feel like I needed to get another probe out, so I think I'll actually go and just go and throw a probe in there. We'll build that ship. It's going to take 8 turns. I can click on it. I can do this once per turn and rush it. It's going to cost me 308, so let's go and do that. Get the second probe out, and so that will then come next turn. We'll just go and click on done. And so everything is now done there. The last thing we have to do is we've got our core world. We didn't actually, we rushed building so we could get the actual leader in, but we didn't actually build anything on the core world. So let's actually now just go and look at that one. I've got to get going in about 15 minutes, so hopefully we'll end this turn, this first turn. But I am doing a deep dive today. In 2 days' time, I'm just going to be mainly just playing the game itself. So in this case, what we end up having is we have a barren world, which is not going to really worry us. We do have some plains out through here as well. And what these do is, if I go and click on these ones, you can see I can build certain things in there. Nice flat land ready for improvement on the plains. The desert in through this other side. Food improvements cannot be constructed there, etc., etc. But we can sort of get like entertainment districts or research districts in through that side as well. So we should be able to, yeah, we can get research districts back in there. Some of the actual locations though will have special abilities, and we can see them through here. This is mineral rich, and so the minerals found here are extremely useful for construction. And this gives me a +2 to manufacturing. If I build around it, I think, if I sort of have a bit of a look at what that one does. I think it's next, that means next to it. I always get confused with this one. This one's +1 to military. This one's +1 to wealth. This one's +3 to wealth. And then over through here we actually have another one. This is a Bernal sphere. So I upgrade this artifact to unlock charges that will increase the population capacity of the selected world. So if we need to increase population capacity, we can actually fire this particular very unique system out. So if we go and have a look at that one through there, we're not sort of seeing what's in around it. If we then have a look at the buildings we actually have, so we can sort of do, like often I like to just get a bit of a feel for where I'm going to be wanting to have like manufacturing areas, or because you do actually end up using districts a lot. So districts, agricultural district you can see they cannot be built on desert, mountains, volcanic rifts, lava flows, or volcanoes. So if we were going to build one of these things, we would only really be able to build it there, pretty much. The others won't allow it. That one will allow it down through that rocky area. But typically what you want to look at through here is just get a bit of a feel for where you think you might want to start to do. It looks like we've got some money down this way if we need the money. We've got some manufacturing in around here, which would be fairly good. We do have some starting buildings we can sort of go and bring in. We've got the mother hive. So this is a central hub for consuming species on this world. Increases the stats of all creatures with the consuming trait. And so this is actually something that, now do we have consuming? Yeah, we had consuming. We've got consuming as our trait. But I'm not seeing it in there. We may have chosen the wrong stuff for this. I think that consuming, did we get consuming? I can't remember now if we got that as what we ended up having. I think we may have chosen the wrong thing, having consuming along with these. We may have to, when we do start in a couple of days' time, I may have to have a bit of a look and see if this is actually going to be viable or not. It may not be all that good, but this is essentially the where we have to sort of start. So if I go and click on this one here and drag it into a location, this is essentially my start point back and through this other side. It should have other things that come off the top of around it. Yeah, so the adjacency level bonus is +2 levels to everything around it. Back and through there. We also then have a durantium scanner. So this one sends out a massive pulse to detect the rare metal durantium. So this is actually going to be good for us as a cybernetic faction. The work hive. So productive hub for workers cast of consuming by increasing their diligence. I may have to double check that. We may have actually screwed up with this. So the work hive will get adjacency bonuses of +3 level to manufacturing and military. We also then have the cerebral chamber, which will then give him more research as well. Now we'll need to get a little bit of these different things coming back through. This one here will give, I don't know if we maybe want to get this one here initially. Yeah, I sort of feel like I may have screwed up here a little bit. You can see there if I pop it on there, we're going to get the +2 bonus into there. Let's go and throw that one in there, I think. We do get the bonus there. It's going to take 6 turns to get that one done. And I really should check that if I did allow consuming to be what we did get, that's going to be a bit of a problem ultimately. So I'll show you why. Actually, I'll just do a save game, and okay, so we'll let it save, and we'll just go back out and have another quick look. So if I go and load the game in, sorry, if I go back to the main menu, and just go to new game. Ravenous. Okay, this one does, yeah. So this one is proof. It also gains the ability to consume it. Yeah, this is not good for what we are. This one is really like for that one we need to be a biological species to make use of this. So this does not work with cybernetics. Like I mean, we've got cybernetics in through there. Gives access to more powerful technologies and improvements for races that are not afraid to interface with superior technologies. That's fine for us playing as the Yor. But Ravenous are typically, like the Ravenous faction that comes with the game is this one here, the Festron Hunt. So they're ravenous and unrelenting, but they're insectoids. And so that works for them to actually have the mother hive and stuff like this. It doesn't work for cybernetics. So I think what we have to do here, sorry guys, I'm going to have to just I'll have to restart. I'll rattle through what we did though. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go and edit this one. So I can actually go and edit this particular one because unfortunately the ability Ravenous worked with what we had written in our short description before, but is not going to work with our cybernetic approach. So when I saw the mother hive, I'm thinking, that's not what we want. That's more insectoid. So we'll choose a different one in here that still sort of works along the same lines. So we've already got cybernetic. We can't choose that the second time. Engineers, not really. I think exterminators, transport ships are replaced with planet-killing spore ships. Probably not that one. Genocidal. This one here, massive advantage in conquering planets due to not caring the least about collateral damage. Can convert other species unfortunate enough end up on their planets into living neural network batteries. This feels better for us, doesn't it, really? Nihilism, cultural, this is more for nihilistic culture, so we may have to change that as well. Hive mind, yeah, we don't need those. The red ones are the ones we're looking for. Paranoid, proliferation, yeah, we don't need that either. Raiders, slavers, starfaring. Let's go nihilistic, and let's go and play genocidal. So we'll go that way. So that then takes our biology. We want to change our cultural focus from totalitarianism to nihilism as well. So we'll just go across with that one. Everything else will keep the same. So the abilities are now genocidal cybernetic, which still works for the direction we were heading. And so we're just going to save our civilization. And so again, we now actually have a different approach with this one. Let's now pretend that we're starting the game. You've already set up like your faction, and you just go next. We know that we're pretty happy with this one. We will just double check that it does what we want. We'll keep those where they are. We'll start the game, and I'll now just go through without explaining it too much. I'll just quickly go through. Yeah, fertile robot, says Wiggly. Yes, we don't need that. All right, so we'll just go back in through here. Everything else was good, just except for that one setting. So that was, I really should have double checked that setting at the start. So if we just go back and have another quick look at the scale that we have, that's okay for what we're playing. We do actually have, that's the prospector. If I go back into my colony ship, can't do anything. So again, just very, very briefly, go back to my planet, double click it, go back in, rush, build this, the Colonial Leadership Council, done. At that start, we'll go back across into leaders. Got a 10 there, that's not too bad. That's the most I've got. Diligence 12. All right, I'll hire that one immediately as well. This one is also a thrall captain. Ruthlessly push those under the charge, the brink, and also living document. These will actually then work different ways for us as well. You know, if they come in. So we'll go and grab that one. Ministers, intelligence goes into Minister of Technology. Diligence goes into Minister of Exploration. Done. Our leader is still sitting back in there. Research. We now have the Universal Translator, Defensive Studies, and Weaponized Probes. So we can actually then go and start to make battleships, but we don't need that one. And initially we need to be talking with whoever we meet. So we'll go that way, click on done. go back into the idle ships. At this stage, I now have a reasonable number of systems that I can go and approach. And this can then save me time. If I'm worried that the other faction's going to be close, I could sort of rush out and get what I need. But I think I'm going to go with the again with this same start. Again, this one is your home system will always be consistent. The actual planet layout won't be, but let's just go back to there again. Okay, we've got that one. That's done. Probe. We will send it out to this one over through here. This one might be close enough for us to be able to check out the planet, which should be good. Yeah, we can actually now see the planet. If I click on that one, there is actually another one in here. It's only a class 2 planet through there. I can see, even though I can't see the planet itself, that's the only one that's really viable for me in there. Is if I go a little bit closer, for example, there it is there. This is one that we didn't get to see it, but if you click on the actual star itself, you will then see the viable planets around it. So we don't need to spend any more time there. We can now move off to the next one. Actually, maybe go this way. The different class of planets do actually make a difference in the type of planets that you will then find there. There's Durantium there. This is actually going to be very, very important for us. So we need a lot of Durantium playing as a cybernetic faction. This was a resource that will allow us to build much faster. So we'll be wanting to get that one fairly quickly. Go back into the other fleets. Let's just go and set this one back up to auto surveying. The idle shipyard, just go back into this one. Settler or constructor, or probe again. I can always put things, I can shuffle things around. I think in this instance I'm going to go with settler. So I'm done. Just because there's actually there's a lot of potential locations around us. So we've got that one done. Then we've got the idle core world. See how different the worlds are? Like we've got different abilities here. We've got different things happening. And again, you may find that you come in with a really crappy world at the start and then and re-roll and think, oh yeah, I like this one. But this one is actually giving us a lot of bonuses. In this case, we've got +3 to wealth. We've got +1 to wealth. So this is going to be good for wealth down through this other side. Notice that our buildings are now different as well that we actually end up having. We've got Durantium scanner. We've got death camp in through there as well. Now we should have, we've got the computational core. This is the central core for increasing knowledge generation on the world. We've got the different districts in through that side, Durantium scanner through there. Again, we need that one because we're cybernetic. Interrogation machine, place it near population centers to extract knowledge from our people. So that gives extra population. I'm looking for bonuses though, really, around us. This one here is +2 levels to manufacturing, and initially we need the manufacturing to kick in, so that will be good. And this one here gives this is actually our main thing that we need to build. Actually, you can see there the base effect: research, manufacturing, population cap control per month, precursor nanites as well. We can start to build those as well. So this one is definitely the building that we want to be using, and this one gives adjacency bonuses to everything around it. So we want it to be in a fairly central position. It doesn't have to be on anything that gives us, like we've got vapor mines there and these ones here are mineral rich. So these actually do give us a big boost to manufacturing. This one here is a mnemonic nanites. God, that's hard to say. This upgrade will increase the unlock charges that will repair the selected fleet. So this is actually a different sort of special artifact that we've actually got through there. Not that we don't need it yet, of course. Wealth. God, there's a lot of wealth in through here. Tourism there, which is not important to us. There's no actual research areas, but manufacturing. This is fairly good for manufacturing down through here. If I go in there, I can then still get extras into wealth. So if I go and drag that one across. By the way, again, our research, our economic advisor recommends building that one. Our research advisor recommends building a science district. So, but we're going to go this way. I'm going to place it into here. If I go into, you'll see that I don't get any bonuses. There are sometimes when you start the game, like sometimes you'll get something that will give you a boost to your population straight away. Always grab that if you see it, or generally grab it if you see it. But in this case, we don't have anything because we're playing cybernetics. So I'm just going to go there. That will then enhance what we can then sort of pick up and around this different area. So that anything that is built there will now be enhanced from this. This is like this one's going to take me 5 turns to build. We used to get these for free. You don't get them for free anymore. But we then have the work camp, which increases manufacturing. So it's going to then be the maintenance goes up, so it costs us a little bit of. This is where you've got to be careful. Districts don't cost any income, but the buildings often do. So we actually have an interrogation machine, which is to do with research. Now we may build a little bit of research there, or maybe even over the other side. But quite often this death camp in through here, Prime Construction supplies several ruined Taurians who'll be worked to death. So we end up getting some slave labour on the actual world itself, which means that our food will be taken up if we choose these death camps. So we bring Taurian slaves in. If we go and place that one there, see how we're getting a +5 because we get the bonus from the +2 there once that's built. So this death camp will then give us the population cap goes up. The bonus level, we get manufacturing at +4% per level. It may be worth holding back and seeing what else we can get. The Duranium scanner, we get the bonus per level. The sensor range goes out by +3. So again, we could place that one there, but it's only a sensor. It doesn't give us any real bonuses. We can see things, but that's about it. Interrogation machine, again, I can sort of just build this one anywhere around here just to get a bit of a boost to it if I wanted to. But I then have the different districts, and really what I want is a manufacturing district. If we go to the research districts, they're just also just going to help a little bit and through this other side. No, it's not going to be great though. So I think I'll wait until I've actually got a few other little things. So there'll be other districts that we can unlock in the interim. Just going to click on done. And we now can play. When I've got to now finish up the stream. I've actually got to get going now. But we now have finished our first turn, guys. We did have to make a correction, but we're there. There are other things to talk about, like for example the executive orders. It is worth having a look at these to see what you end up getting. So we've got, for example, upgrade fleet propulsion, shipyard production boost. This was going to cost me control of. Where is the control? I'm not seeing it around. I thought control was up the top here. I'm not seeing it in the list of resources. You normally is that it? Yeah, that's it there. That's the control. So we start off with basically 100. If we spend 50, we can then boost the. It's going to cost me 25 credits, 50 control, with a 12 cooldown, and we're not actually making control at this stage, so we're going to need to get that one going. So I won't do that one, but that can actually can very quickly sort of affect the production. It can boost production if we wanted to do it that way. Shock troops, yeah, so we've got different things we can do there. I'm not going to worry about those at this stage. We also then have our data bank, which just gives us a summary as now what we are. So we're nihilistic, and again, genocidal cybernetics, as you are. We've got our timelines and things like that. We won't bother going through that. But in 2 days' time, I'll come back and we'll actually play. We'll continue playing it properly, and not just do like a summary of what the game has actually got in it. That way you get a better feel for it. The special will still be on at that stage as well. So again, just to finish off, there is actually a link in the description too, by the way, if you are interested in the game. But if you are wanting to grab the game, you can click on that link. It'll take you through to the Steam page. The Steam page is 50% off for the Steam Spring Sale. So that just for 1 week. So you can get it there, and you can get the DLCs a little bit cheaper as well, some of the older ones. Hi ZXM, how you going? Sorry, I didn't see you come in before. So you get a look at Stormhaven. So there's a question you've got there. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Sorry if I've missed other comments. I'm thinking now I probably have missed comments. Hi, K Shizzle. Yeah, I have. Has anyone got any questions? Okay, so Michael's saying, having played so many games, I still don't 100% understand how the boarding works. From the text, it seems to be working with ground combat. Having the troops on ships can make you take over the enemy ship. I don't know either, to be honest. Does it have to be? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Sorry about that at all. This is for boarding ships, ship to ship. Certain people can do it. Sorry, what have I missed here? Have I missed stuff? Yeah, actually I missed. yeah, sorry, Began, I did actually, ZXM, I did actually miss your entry, and yeah, Scratch is saying he also have an idea for a civ. If you want to make another civ as an opponent, I would really like to share something. Look, we've started now, so sorry, I missed that comment through there. It also would have taken a bit too much time. Already spent too much time just going through the actual I guess the peripherals of the game, but the actual game itself, you know, it can be played quickly. I tend to spend a bit more time explaining things, but anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. So thanks for watching, and I will be back in a couple of days' time, and we'll just play a bit more of the game and sort of at least get sort of started there, try to take over